The following is a special presentation of the Palace Sports and Entertainment Network. Rock Financial presents Pistons basketball.
They last met almost 6 months ago, but that isn't nearly enough time to cool off the NBA's hottest rivalry. Tonight, the Pistons and Pacers resume their boiling battle for Eastern Conference supremacy. Last season, Rick Carlisle's club won the regular season series. But in the East Finals, two Wallaces proved to be too much for the Pacers. In this year's first meeting, will Indiana have an answer for Wallace times two? It's an early season showdown between two beasts of the East. The Pistons and Pacers next. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another exciting night of NBA basketball. I'm George Blaha, live at the Palace with my partner, Piston legend, Bill Lambier. And Billy, first we had a potential preview of the NBA Finals, and now a rematch of last year's Eastern Finals.
Oh, you're so right, George. Detroit got rid of Minnesota. Now comes Indiana. Indiana is really upset at what happened last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're coming tonight really hot.
And I know two guys are going to come full board, Jermaine O'Neal and Ron Artest. That's the two-headed monster for the Pacers.
It is a two-headed monster, and they're playing better now than they did last year, especially Artest, even with his off-court problems. Both those players are going to have to count on heavily because they're shorthanded tonight.
Yeah, they are. They're only dressed 9 players, but I know they're going to come hard. They want a world championship ring, and they're going to have to come through the Motor City to get it. Back with the starting lineups and all the action in a moment on the World Champion Pistons Television Network.
Detroit Pistons basketball is brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Check out the great deals on the new 2005 Ford vehicles. Visit FordVehicles.com. By Rock Financial, call the mortgage experts at 1-800-333-ROCK. By the new Singular, raising the bar. By Meyer, the official supercenter of the Detroit Pistons. By Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com. By Bell Tire. Trust us, we will make you happy you came in. That's a promise. Spice up the night at Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By Fifth Third Bank. Working hard to be the only bank you'll ever need. By Wallside Windows, most preferred, most referred. By LDMI Telecommunications. Visit us at www.ldmi.com. By Motor City Casino, the pulse of Detroit. And by Wendy's. It's better here.
Let's check the starting lineups now, brought to you by Meyer. Meyer's the official super center of the Pistons, with Reggie Miller and Jeff Foster on the injured list. Indiana opens with Austin Crozier and Ron Artest and Jermaine O'Neal up front. Steven Jackson and Jamal Tinsley in the backcourt. And for the Pistons, Wallace times 2, Rasheed and Ben, Tayshaun Prince and Chauncey and Rip. And let's go to making the calls now, brought to you by Wireless Toys. These guys are important. But first we'll go to Lamb's Lowdown.
All right, well, first thing, the Piston guards. No way the Pacers match up well here with the Pistons. Billups and Hamilton should have their way, 20 points each. Bench battle, Indiana is so depleted in talent, the Pistons have to get in their bench and take advantage of it. And low turnover rate. The Pistons have to take care of the ball. If they have low turnovers, they're going to win this game.
And there they're making the calls, guys. Ronnie Garrison, Tim Donaghy, and Tommy Nunez Jr. Making the calls, brought to you by Wireless Toys.
Here we go.
Tommy Nunez Jr. will make the throw. Jermaine O'Neal and Ben will jump it up as you look down from our overhead camera here at the Palace.
They stole that tip.
Looked like they did, and here comes Tinsley. Top side to Crozier. Backing in is Jermaine O'Neal. Blocked by Rasheed on the shot try.
I missed Rasheed running right down the middle of the lane for a layup.
Now the Pistons set it up. Shot clock already down to 10. Chauncey finds Rasheed with a clock at 5. Now it's at 4. Here's the long gun. Got it!
Wow.
Rasheed with a bailout triple for the Pistons. He was 3 strides behind the long line.
Yeah, he was pushing half court on that one. But that's going to be Indiana's thing, is play solid D at the shot clock run down.
Steven Jackson with a quick shot for the Pacers off the heel to Rasheed.
Well, let's see, Rasheed, a block, a three-pointer, and a rebound.
In 1 minute against Indiana.
2 rebounds.
That's right, after the block early, he got the board. Then backs in on Jermaine O'Neal. Fall away, he fills it up. The Pistons are ready to play. 5-zip, the champs over the Pacers. Crozier screens for Tinsley. O'Neal's open. Off iron. Chauncey with a bounce way up to Ben. To the rim, a little bit hard. Could have been a whistle. Artest digs it off the floor.
Yeah, Ben should have made that one, though.
Ron Artest with his triple, wearing an old Dennis Rodman number.
Ron Artest, though, is playing some super basketball for the Indiana Pacers this year. He's going to try to drop 30 tonight.
He stepped it up to another level, at least so far. Down the lane rip. Baseline gets to Ben, a show and go. A collision in the paint, and this time a whistle. And an Indiana foul.
That's on Jermaine O'Neal. That's pretty good. Get him an early foul.
As good as Ron Artest is, there's the man for Indiana, Jermaine O'Neal. And he does pick up an early foul. Great to have you with us on Local 4 tonight and on the Pistons television network. There's Rick Carlisle, who coached the Pistons to 100 victories in 2 seasons here. Overall, almost a 66% winner. Ben splits at the stripe. 6-3 Pistons, and the Pistons Hall of Fame coach, Larry Brown, with 937 wins. Got 937 Wednesday against Minnesota. Back on the bench again tonight. Artest with a fake, and he fires it, he fills it.
That even, rim never moved. No, net never moved.
Nothing moved.
Yeah, it was just like went through.
That's called right down the middle.
Yeah, and you get in zones like that, which he is right now.
Like one of those long drives of yours, man. One thing we do know, they're long. It's 6-5. Here's Rip from the baseline. Tinsley on the run with Steven Jackson against Chauncey. Steven Jackson to the rack. And Indiana leads by 1. 7-6.
Indiana's not going to go away. They're going to be here the whole game.
Rip against Steven Jackson. Gets it back from Ben. And a screen from Ben. He lets it go short. Rasheed saves it, but Tinsley's there. Indiana with a chance for another run out. Artest inside, blocked by Tayshaun. Gets it back. Did Ben get a piece of that? Crozier follows and fills it up.
Well, Indiana has great concentration right now, and they are into this game also.
This could be a beauty, folks. Stay with us. 9-6 Indiana. 8.5 to play in the first. Chauncey working against Tinsley. Rip doubled on the baseline.
That was good defense right there.
Ben's pass tapped out of bounds. The shot clock's down to 3.
Well, Indiana's defense is clear. They're going to leave Ben Wallace to double team any scoring opportunity the Pistons have and try to make Ben Wallace beat them.
So Larry Brown, that special chair on the sideline for the Pistons. Ben from the baseline. And the rebound belongs to Indiana. Out of bounds off Rasheed. Well, he wouldn't want to be anywhere else tonight. Tinsley misfires to Rasheed. He just pulled down his 4th rebound.
Good defense by Chauncey. Put a hand right in his face.
Chauncey works against Tinsley on the other end. The clock's at 10. The show and go. Here's the drive. Flips it up. Fills it up. Sweet move by Chauncey, and the Pistons are within one. It's 9-8.
Yeah, he saw Jermaine O'Neal in there, and he knew he already had one foul. He took it right to him.
Tinsley down the lane.
Ooh.
Wide dish to O'Neal. Missed that.
Ooh,
and it belongs to the Pistons.
That's a bad call there. That looked like Indiana ball.
Watch Chauncey last time, Bill.
Yeah, he's driving right in there. He sees O'Neal right in front of him and said, get out of my way.
7:24 to play in the first. Chauncey again off glass. Artest ahead to Tinsley for Indiana. Tinsley with a stop and go move. Missed the floater. Out of bounds. Indiana will keep it.
Tinsley's playing pretty well this year. Up there amongst the league leaders in assists. Looks like he's pushing the ball well for Indiana.
He could make plays. He hasn't been as consistent as perhaps you'd like him to be, but looks like it's coming. Austin Crozier getting a chance to play mega minutes with the Pacers banged up, and he's played well. Artest flips it up short. Piston goes to rip at the foul line extension. Nothing but net. Pistons 10, Pacers 9. 6:39 to play in the first.
Indiana got caught in transition where Artest was not guarding Rip Hamilton that time. Rip took advantage of it.
Steven Jackson goes in the post to Jermaine O'Neal. Against Rasheed Chauncey to double. Artest from deep drills another triple.
Wow.
Artest with an early 8. The Pistons are down a deuce, 12-10.
Well, the Pistons know he's the hot hand for Indiana right now. They can't leave him wide open like that.
Piston lobs it deep to Rasheed for the jam. Pistons get a deuce right back, and it's 12-12.
That was easy.
Rasheed with 5 and 4 boards already.
Nice high-low action.
Crozier screens for Tinsley. Steven Jackson's open. He hits it. 14-12 Indiana.
That's a pretty good pickup for Indiana, picking up Jackson.
Harrington wanted out, so they made that deal, and Chauncey in the lane. We get a whistle and a Tinsley foul and a Piston timeout. 5.5 left in the first. Indiana 14, the Pistons 12. We're playing the Palace on the world champion Pistons television network.
That last play that lobbed to Rasheed Wallace, you're going to see Tayshaun come up like this. The defense is occupied because here's Rip Hamilton. And look how high he's got him sealed right there. I think that's a great play. It's an easy lob pass for a dunk. And Rasheed says, let me slap that board and show how good I am. Nice play by the Pistons. And one more look at it. Rasheed's having fun. He's off to a good start.
Yeah, he is. Full house at the Palace. It's the Pistons and the Indiana Pacers. Indiana, 61-win team last year, best in basketball. Let's check our league leaders now, brought to you by your Metro Detroit Ford dealers. Steve Nash leading the league in assists at 11 a game. Stephon Marbury at 8-6. And Tinsley third. As Bill pointed out, he's off to a very good start, averaging 8.4 feeds a game. He has 3 already in this one. Jamal Tinsley, New York City type point guard. A couple great years at Iowa State collegiately. First round draft choice in 01. Chauncey's at the line. On the Tinsley foul. For all Piston radio broadcasts, tuned to Sports Radio 1130 WDFN. American Forces Radio picking up Piston Radio Network tonight. They will hear some pearls of wisdom from Rockin' Rick Mahorn. Chauncey makes twice and has 4. 14 all. Nice to have the Pacers all around the world on Armed Forces Radio. Steven Jackson missing outside. And Rasheed now has 5 rebounds.
He's definitely into the game right now. Good work down there in the post.
Rasheed against Crozier. They like that matchup. He backs him in.
That's illegal defense.
There's a technical foul free throw coming up. He has 3 in the lane without guarding on Indiana.
I think that's going to be O'Neal or Artest, one of the two. They're both down here. And they're just hanging out in there. You can't do that. But Rasheed is a great mismatch with Crozier guarding him. They should be able to take him in the post all day long.
Chauncey's free throw falls. He has 5. Jermaine O'Neal has not scored. On Artest with an early 8. Tayshaun with the rainbow from the corner. Rasheed tries to follow. Down it goes. Count that baby, and a foul on Crozier.
Like I said, Crozier can't guard him in there, and Rasheed's just too big and strong for him on the post. He just goes up and says, give me that, and I'm surprised he didn't go up and dunk that. Little finger roll action. Good lucky it went in.
Little Dr. J, George Gervin. Finger roll. His free throw pops out to Jermaine O'Neal. Pistons 17, Pacers 14. 4:48 to play in the first. Jamal Tinsley against Chauncey. Crozier screens, gets it back, bounces it inside to Artest. Artest working Tayshaun. Ben to help. Somehow Artest got it down off the window anyway. He has 10.
Strength is how he got that in there. That was just pure brute strength against Tayshaun in the post.
17-16 Pistons. 4:22 to play in the first.
Indiana went to a zone. Surprising.
Not their cup of tea. Chauncey misses a 3. Rebound tapped by O'Neal to Steven Jackson, ahead to Tinsley. Crozier with the long gun. Got it.
Another assist for Tinsley. He's the one that made that action right now. 4 already for him in this game, and we're still 4 minutes to go in the first quarter.
19-17. Indiana leads it. Clock at 10 for Rip against Steven Jackson. Tayshaun drives Artest, flips up the gun on the run. No, got his own rebound. Fresh 24 for the Pistons. Great work by Tayshaun Prince.
That's what I was going to say. That was great work by him down there. Not only driving in there, but also getting his own rebound.
Takes the dish from Chauncey, goes inside to Rasheed. Ben with a follow-up flush off the Rasheed miss, and the Pistons tie it at 19.
There's that finger roll again that I didn't like the first time. This time it didn't go in.
Pistons 19, Pacers 19. Indiana takes timeout with 3:17 to play in the first. This is the world champion Pistons television network. Welcome back to the Palace. All the beautiful people at the game. And there are more games coming up Sunday night at 6. We check out our upcoming TV games. The Charlotte Bobcats will be here Sunday at 6. That game on Fox Sports. Ditto for the Tuesday game in Charlotte against the expansion Bobcats. Then the Pistons go to Cleveland. LeBron James on the air on WB20. Bill Lambier on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Brought to you by our proud WDIV sponsor, Taco Bell. And how about those Sunday night tickets? The Charlotte Bobcats, chance to get a pretty good seat. It's the first Subway family night of the season. For as low as $119, you get 4 game tickets, 4 6-inch sub certificates, and 4 Piston collectibles. The first 5,014 and under get a Ben Wallace growth chart, courtesy of the Palace Locker Room. Plus, It's Fifth Third Bank Photo Sunday. Compliments of the Oakland Press. Last chance to see the Pistons in November. Every other game is sold out. For tickets, log on to Ticketmaster.com or call them at 248-645-6666. And our statistician, Mr. Abramson, would like me to say hello to all the Piston fans in the blue and purple rooms at Summit North Academy in Romulus. One of their teachers there, a good friend of his, Kelly Wells.
Let's get back to the action.
George Blaha and Bill Lambier with Mr. Abramson and our stage manager, Jerry Collins, here courtside. Pistons and Indiana Pacers even at 19. Strong start really both ways. 3:09 to play in the first. Show and go in a reverse miss by Steven Jackson. There's a follow-up flush. The tomahawk, the first deuce tonight for Jermaine O'Neal.
Steven Jackson saw that he had Rasheed Wallace on him and said, he can't guard me. I'm taking him to the hoop. Broke down the Piston defense.
2:52 to play in the first. Rasheed in the post against Crozier. Nice pass to Tayshaun, who flips up the scoop, won't fall. Ben gets it back, but through the pass outside. Swiped by Tinsley. Drives Chauncey, lays it up and lays it in.
Ben thought he was fouled there.
Indiana with 4 quick points out of the timeout. A 9-2 run for the Pacers. Rasheed working the post against Crozier. Baseline, turn and gun, got it.
Can't guard. Go inside all night long to Rasheed Wallace.
Rasheed has 9. Artest high in the game with 10. Rasheed has 6 boards as well. Artest turns inside, got by Tayshaun, and Rasheed reached over and fouled. Hey fans, our game brought to you in part by our great friends at Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It is game time. Settle back and enjoy this one as the Big Easy, Eldon Campbell checks in for Rasheed. Strong start for Rasheed. 9.6 boards in 10 minutes.
I'd say that's a pretty good start. But Ron Artest is keeping Indiana in this game.
David Harrison checks in for Indiana, their rookie from Colorado.
That's part of Indiana's problem. They don't have much bench depth right now.
Yeah, Scott Pollard, who might have been able to play tonight, they thought. Still bothered with the back, and he'll at least miss this one. He'd probably be the guy checking in right now. One of the big man spots. Artest makes 2, has 12. Indiana 25, Pistons 21. Eldon Campbell goes to rip. The hanging gun is short, but a whistle and a foul.
Harrison, kid. He looks overweight. He looks slow of foot. Wow, he doesn't look very good at all for first round draft.
29th pick, last pick in round 1.
That explains part of it.
His dad was Dennis Bigfoot Harrison in the NFL, Pro Bowl defensive end.
Harrison's going to have 3 fouls in about 4 minutes in this game. He has no business being out there right now.
Rip got them both. 25-23, backcourt Piston pressure. Jamal Tinsley races it across the timeline in time. Delivers to Ron Artest. Tinsley gets it back on top, and he triples.
Well, Indiana has a lead, but a lot of it's been the 3 ball so far. They're 4 for 4.
Yep, 4 tries, 4 makes from downtown. Pistons 1 out of 3 from deep. And goes to Tayshaun with it. And against Artest, Tinsley with the swipe.
That was a good pass.
And a nice dish ahead to Fred Jones. He's just come off the bench as well. And we get a rip foul. Lindsey Hunter will check in for the Pistons. So will Darvin Ham.
Well, you know, know, George, 28 points with a minute and a half to go. That's way too many points to whip for the Indiana Pacers. Last year's Eastern Conference Finals were all in the 60s, low 70s. That's how the Pistons won. They can't win. Give Indiana 30 points.
Well, they have great spacing, and they really have another shooter on the floor with Crozier when they start the game this way. They put it back in play. Minute and 15 left in the first. Jermaine O'Neal has scored only 2. Touch feed to Tinsley. Really moving the ball, and here's Jermaine O'Neal with the drive, and the whistle blows.
Fouling Ben. That was well done by Indiana.
Man, did they move the basketball.
Yes, they did.
Ben's first. How about a .com poll question? Who is the NBA's best defensive player? Is it Ron Artest, Kevin Garnett, Andrei Kirilenko, or is it that man, Ben Wallace?
I'll guess Ben Wallace. So I think I'm going to win that one. But hey, don't sleep on Kirilenko. He is pretty good.
That's a great player that some people haven't heard of yet.
He leads the league in block shots. Easily leads the league in block shots from a small forward position.
And here comes Eddie Gill in.
Well, what's unfortunate
is the Nets, Memphis, and Portland.
Yeah, what's unfortunate is Indiana can get away with putting all the bench players in right now because they have a lead.
Reggie Miller out with a broken hand.
Darn, I better see him play. He can't score anymore. He's too old.
Jermaine O'Neal got 1 for 2. Darvin Ham with a rebound. Indiana by 6. Here come the Pistons. A minute left in the first. Lindsey works outside, delivers it to Darvin. We're going to post Eldon Campbell against the rookie. Walks it across the lane, hooks it up lefty over Harrison, and hits it.
Like I said, Harrison doesn't belong in this game right now.
Eddie Gill for Indiana. Their lead down to 4, 29-25, 40 seconds left in the first. Bothered by Lindsey. Loses it. Picked up by Harrison, but double dribble.
I don't have to say anymore, do I? He has terrible footwork down there. He's just he looks about 20 pounds overweight too.
30 seconds left in the first.
Oh, nice play.
Lindsey got his pocket pick. Artest to the rack. He lays it up and in. And they'll whistle Lindsey for the foul. Artest with 14 in the first.
You know, he's reigning defensive player of the year, I believe, isn't he? And that's why. Normally Lindsey's stealing it from people. What a quarter he's had.
This excellent defender is suddenly Mr. O as well. He has 15 in the first, and he's had 3 20-point games in a row, and looks like he'll get there tonight.
He's had a couple 30-point games too, I think.
Rip to the baseline. Block shot. Harrison got it, but a whistle. And they get Harrison for the foul. Hey, fans, you can win a trip to see the Pistons play the Knicks at the Garden with the Nextel Pistons flyaway. Just stop at any participating Nextel dealer like Ann Arbor wireless locations. Give them a call at 800-925-7435 or log on to Pistons.com for complete details.
Let's see, I said Harrison would have 3,004 or 5 minutes. He already has 2 and 2.
And you got a crystal ball.
He just, look at his ball. He is just...
James Jones in there for a minute. Sits back down. And Smush Parker's in the ball game for the Pistons. The Pistons put Carlos Delfino on the injured list today with a badly bruised knee.
And I talked to Mike Abdenauer. He said, but 5 games in 7 days is not, you know, might as well go ahead and do that and put him on the injured list.
Make it 32-27. 1.2 seconds to play in the first. Artest hits another. He has 17 in the first.
Wow.
He's 6 for 9. Ron Artest has owned the Palace here in the early going. Indiana 34 and the Pistons 27 after 1 on the world champion Pistons television network. Welcome back to the Palace. Ron Artest has exploded here for 17 in the first. Check this out, Bill.
He has 17 points by one guy, and well, you know, that's 34 points by the Indiana Pacers. That is not Piston basketball. I think Ron Artest is making a statement to ESPN. They've been on his case all week long about his comments, and he came out tonight with fire in his eyes.
Well, he is 6 out of 9 and 2 for 2 from downtown. Give Jamal Tinsley some credit here. He had 5 and 5 feeds in the first for Indiana. Our quick stats are brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. Fifth Third working hard to be the only bank you'll ever need. Good eats at the Palace tonight. Fast break points, 7-0 Indiana, and the Pistons have 4 turnovers that have been turned into 8 Indiana points. 1 turnover for Indiana for no Piston points. Indiana with 8 assists, the Pistons with only 3. Antonio McDyess will check in. Hey fans, the presenting sponsor Rock Financial will send deserving community and youth groups to every Piston home game this year. Log on to Pistons.com right now and find out how your group can participate. Harrison, Artest, James Jones, the 6'8" second-year guy from Miami, played very little last year, along with Gill and Fred Jones on the floor for Indiana. Smush Parker, first time in a regular season game as a Piston on the floor. Ian Lindsay, Tayshaun Ellen Campbell, and Antonio McDyess. His shot blocked. Out of bounds off Harrison.
Well, that's twice he's gone after shots. He got this one. He fouled Rip Hamilton earlier.
Clock's down to 2. Eldon Campbell lets it fly. Got iron, no net. It's up in Gill's hands. Indiana on the run. And Jones didn't finish. Smush saves it in the corner. Here comes Lindsay. 34-27 Indiana. First minute, second quarter at the Palace. Another swipe by Gill. Played the passing lane well, went to the rack. Down he went, and the whistle blows.
Well, there's Smush Parker's first action, and he turns it over right away. Not a good sign.
Bill's big numbers all his life have included steals all the way back to college, and cups of coffee in the NBA, and as a CBA All-Star. Very active.
Yep. But he's still not solid NBA material at the moment.
Coming into this season, he, in 3 years, only played in 53 total games. Gets the first free throw down. Turns the second and scores that one. 36-27 Indiana.
Well, Indiana's trying all kinds of different combinations here early. They had to play the Pistons a bunch of times this year.
Alley-oop to Tayshaun from Smush Parker for the stop.
That's a set play against that zone defense. That was well executed.
Jones to forecourt. Gives it up to Gill. 36-29 Indiana. 10:44 to play in the half. Harrison gives it back to Gill, who drives it right to the rack, lays it up and in. You heard the whistle. An and 1 for Gill. Lindsay's second foul.
There's that last play. Tayshaun Prince's job is to run back and forth on the baseline against the zone. Smush is going to see him. And they saw the screen right down there by McDyess. That's a set play for a dunk for Tayshaun.
fly. Eddie Gill.
Yeah, but Indiana's not slowing down their scoring pace, George. At 39 already.
Gill with a quick 5. 39-29 Indiana. Just under 10.5 to play in the half. Lindsey backs in on Jones. Piston's open. It rims away, snatched down by Fred Jones. They go inside to Artest. Didn't get that one to go, but he drew an Antonio McDyess foul.
Well, Indiana is very focused out there. They are really into this game. They are keeping their wits about them, attacking the basket at every opportunity. And they're also confusing the Pistons a little bit by switching defenses back and forth.
Artest gets the free throw down. Chauncey's back in the game for Lindsey. And Rip's about to return.
Also returning number 32, Richard Hamilton.
Piston's going to come out. 10:06 to play in the half. Indiana 40, the Pistons 29. 8 for 9 for Indiana, 8 for 10 from the line for the Pistons.
Yeah, it's shooting percentage what this game's about, and turnovers by the Pistons.
Larry Brown in pain from that repaired artificial hip or not, up to shout instructions. Artest got 1 for 2. Indiana by 11. Eldon Campbell against the rookie.
That's his third.
It is Harrison's third. And Jermaine O'Neal's about to return.
Returning to the Indiana lineup, number 7, Jermaine O'Neal.
So is Stephen Jackson. Artest will get his first rest. And David Harrison will sit down. He got a block. He picked up 3 fouls and did not score. Rashid back for the Pistons. He had a strong first. Ron Artest will sit down with 18 points. Parker inside to McDyess. Back to Dice. Smush Parker with the clock at 7. Drives it. Antonio from the baseline. Ball tapped. Jermaine O'Neal has it. Eddie Gill to forecourt. Deep 3. Missed by James Jones.
Take advantage of it right here. Get a bucket.
Off penetration. Indiana gets a steal. Fred Jones bounces to Stephen Jackson. Open for a minute. Drains the deuce. 6 for Stephen Jackson. 42-29 Indiana.
Indiana's taking it 2 by 2 by 2, playing solid defense and executing on offense and making shots.
They still only have 1 turnover. Pistons have 6 for 12 Indiana points. Rashid with a baseline pop. That won't drop. Rebound by Gill.
And Detroit is getting 0 offensive rebounds out there right now. Indiana is controlling the boards on their defensive glass very well.
Cross-court dish.
Get out of there.
Open is Jones.
Timeout.
And Fred Jones just tripled on a feed from Jermaine O'Neal. It's a 26-10 tear now for Indiana, and the Pistons want a timeout. Pacers 45, Pistons 29. 8:27 till halftime on the Pistons television network. Indiana's jumped out to a 45-29 lead, 8:27 to play in the half. Hey fans, be sure to check out the Michigan Lottery's $2 million giveaway tonight. One lucky contestant will become Michigan's next multimillionaire on the floor here at the Palace. When you play the Michigan Lottery, everyone wins. The drawing, part of our wall side windows halftime report. There's some Ben Wallace Piston fans.
That's a bunch of money they're giving away tonight.
Yeah, it is.
Am I eligible for that?
Even a guy like you could use that money.
Am I eligible?
You can get to buy a ticket. Create your own fan choice plan by buying 5 games for the price of 4 for the Pistons. Call us right now during the ball game at 248-377-0100 or log on to Pistons.com. Bring the family out to see the champs. Well, Indiana knows exactly who the NBA champions are. Pistons got great games Wednesday from the perimeter type guys, although Tayshaun got plenty of his in the paint, and so did Chauncey and Rip. Everybody in the 20-point range. And Chauncey had 8 feeds, Rip 5. Tayshaun maybe the most close to flawless game played by anybody on Wednesday.
Yeah, but Indiana plays much better defense than Minnesota does. It's a pretty interesting zone that Indiana is playing. They're taking the point man a 1-2-2 zone, and he's the one who's dropping all the way down into the paint. That's an unusual defense. It's looking well against the Pistons so far.
They called this personal foul on Jermaine O'Neal. Pacers with 2 team fouls, the Pistons with 3. Austin Crozier checks in. James Jones will sit down. Smush Parker with Chauncey and Rip, Antonio McDyess and Rasheed for the Pistons. Rip in the paint, rises guns, no, tap, McDyess won't go. That's a tough luck miss there. Crozier with a rebound. Crozier and Jackson, Jermaine O'Neal, Fred Jones, and Eddie Gill for Indiana. Just under 8 to play in the half. Jermaine O'Neal, pretty good acting job there, and he got the whistle on Antonio McDyess.
Yeah, McDyess has got caught in the wrong position. It's the right call. McDyess doesn't like it, but he knows it. He knows he was in the wrong spot. This is pretty shocking. They've taken the crowd out of the game.
Yeah.
Before it started, the crowd was ready to go. It's going to be a long road back. They're going to have to do with defense and rebounding.
Jermaine O'Neal makes, now I told you, Lamb, Indiana be up 46-29 with 8 minutes to play in the half, and Jermaine O'Neal would have 4 points.
I would say Ron Artest is going nuts.
You would be right. And they're getting a little help from everywhere.
Yeah, they are. They're playing good team basketball right now.
Jermaine O'Neal got them both. He now has 5. 47-29 Indiana. Rip can't get it to go.
Pistons look a bit shell-shocked themselves, too.
Pistons have 2 points in the second quarter. Austin Crozier thought about the 3, drives it, dishes to O'Neal. Off iron to Rip. Pistons get a chance for an easy one, maybe. Rip to the rim, flips it up, no. McDyess captures the rebound. Did he fall out of bounds with it? Yep, he did.
Rip should have given that one to Rasheed. Rasheed was running hard in the break and had an opportunity for a layup and a dunk. And there's just dished right off to Rasheed. He would have had a layup. And Larry Brown let him know about it, too.
Pistons have 4 assists. Indiana has 11. Pistons 1 for 10 in the quarter. Crozier penetrates, kicks it outside of Jones. Now they're going to post it. Jermaine O'Neal against Rasheed. Great matchup there. And Jermaine O'Neal got it down. It looked like Rasheed may have even gotten a hand on it.
Tough shot.
On a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 9 anyway in terms of toughness. And the Pacers lead by 20.
Rasheed was the hot player in the first quarter. He hasn't touched it this quarter.
Smush Parker takes it to the rack. There.
Too easy.
Jermaine O'Neal on the other end gets a jam.
Way too easy. 51
Indiana
points.
goes back up by 20. They have 51 points. We're not even halfway through the second. Rip crosses over, penetrates, Smush Harper from the corner. Misses the three. Steven Jackson the other way. Eddie Gill with a long gun. Here comes Rip. All batted away by Jackson. They'll blow the whistle, though. This is an Indiana foul. It is on Jackson. Timeout with 5:51 to play in the half. Indiana 51, the Pistons 31 on the Pistons television network. Indiana with a 31 lead over the Pistons. Stay tuned for our Wallside Windows halftime report. We'll revisit Lamb's lowdown and bring Bernie Smilovich from Local 4 in on the conversation. After all, it is a weekend at Bernie's. We'll have the lottery drawing as well, and Bill will talk with assistant coach Gar Hurd as well.
Maybe Gar Hurd can get me into that $2 million giveaway and make me eligible.
I think Bernie's your only hope. All right, the Pistons get Lindsey back in the game with Chauncey in the backcourt. Rasheed, Tayshaun, and Ben up front. They've got to D it up right now. They've scored 4 points in the second. Indiana has 51 points on the board with 5:51 to play in the half.
That's a bunch.
Tinsley back in the game for Indiana. You know, Austin Crozier has had a very, very positive impact, I think, on Indiana overall. Coming in on Sunday, the expansion Charlotte Bobcats. Let me tell you what we got. The first Subway family night, first of all, for as low as $119, you get 4 game tickets, 4 6-inch sub certificates, and 4 Piston collectibles. The first 5,000 14 and under get that Ben Wallace growth chart from the Palace locker room. Plus, it's Fifth Third Bank photo night. Compliments of the Oakland Press. For your tickets, log on right now to Pistons.com or call 248-377-0100. The only game that you can see in November at the Palace. The rest of them are sold out. On the first possession, Rasheed inside to Ben. Missed it, tapped it in.
Nice play.
Nearly slammed it in.
Yeah, you wanted to go right at O'Neal, get him out of the game.
Jermaine O'Neal playing with 2 fouls. 5.5 to play in the half. 51-33 Indiana. Steven Jackson gives it up for Jermaine O'Neal against Rasheed. Their shot clock's down to 7. Now it's to 5. Jermaine O'Neal with a fall away. Ben with a board.
There's some good defense. Build on that.
Chauncey to forecourt. Tayshaun inside for Rasheed. Tinsley makes a super play. Came around from behind for the swipe. Ahead to Jackson. Way outside to Artest. This will be a brick to Ben. Cross-court bounce to Tayshaun. Up gunning. Got it. The Crozier ran at him late, and the Pistons shorten it up to 51-35. And Rick Carlisle does not like what's going on. He wants a 20.
Yep. He expected that.
22nd timeout, Indiana, with 4:43 to play in the half.
That was a couple good defensive possessions there for the Pistons. Made a couple good stops, got the rebound, got out run.
Only time they didn't convert, Tinsley made a steal.
And that was one of those, no, no, no. Okay, we'll take that.
Tinsley, Lamb has 4 steals to go with 5 assists in his 5 points. Tayshaun has got a big hoop there for the Pistons. See what Indiana does out of its 22nd timeout. There's some Tayshaun fans and some Rip fans and some Smush fans.
Yeah, I don't think Indiana can play at this pace. They played so well. They're eventually going to fall down a little bit, and the Pistons have to be standing there taking advantage of it.
Tinsley against Lindsey. Closure on the baseline. And they blow the whistle.
That's the right call. Foul on Rasheed.
Rasheed's second.
But unfortunately, that's a penalty.
Yep. Closure will go to the line. He had 56 threes last season, best since his career best 70 back in 01. His best years were for Larry Bird when the Pacers went to the NBA Finals.
And got a huge new contract out of it, too. That I think Indiana would like to get out from under.
There's Jeff Foster and Scott Pollard. Foster on the injured list. Pollard day-to-day with his back problem. Foster had arthroscopic surgery on his hip. Crozier makes twice and has 7. 4:24 to play in the half. Rasheed, two-time Tinsley.
More turnover.
With another takeaway. Tinsley has a very nice feel for the game. Pistons with 8 turnovers now. Pacers still with 1. Artest against Tayshaun. Stops, fires, pops out. And it'll be Piston basketball with 3:53 to play in the half.
Well, their shots aren't going in right now. The Pistons need to take advantage of it and start scoring themselves.
53-35 Indiana. Lindsay comes out. It's Chauncey and Rip. And those front court starters, Ben, Rasheed, and Tayshaun. Rip fires, fills it up. Big basket there.
Yeah, Larry Brown set him down for a little while and told him to calm down. He was missing too many easy ones.
Steven Jackson to Crozier. Jermaine O'Neal gets back to miss. He'll turn and fire. That's way long. But a whistle. They're going to call
a technical on Rasheed.
Yep. On Rasheed.
Rasheed may get thrown out of the game here if he doesn't calm down.
He gets the personal and the tech. Larry Brown's at midcourt.
That's Rasheed's 3rd foul, too. He should get away from the referee right now and go back to the bench.
Crozier makes the tech.
There's the first play. Here's the second one. No foul there. Looks like it, but there's why he got the technical run around. You can't do that. I know there's a little bit of frustration on the Piston part being down by so many. Don't lose your composure.
First free throw rattled home by Jermaine O'Neal. He didn't run at the referee line.
You know, you can't still do that. George, come on, and you know that. That's automatic.
Jermaine O'Neal with 11. 56-37.
Watch a foul call on it. Got to take it to the basket.
Rip missed the jumper.
The Pistons take that to the basket right there, and the referee's going to blow a foul right away. So here you go, Detroit. Take your 2 free throws. There's a makeup call.
Artest against Tayshaun. Nice slap away. Artest gets it back, but loses it off the deck to Chauncey. 1 against 3. Tayshaun along the baseline. Tinsley stepped out of bounds as he and Artest teamed up for the steal. Timeout. 2:35 to play in the half. 56-37 Indiana on the Pistons television network. Larry Brown and the Pistons find themselves in a spot that Larry does not like to be, as the guys who've given up 56 points in the first half with still a couple of minutes left. Let's check the Pistons travel plans now, brought to you by Dodge. Following Sunday's game, they will fly to Charlotte to take on the Bobcats on Tuesday night, then go on to Cleveland for a Wednesday night date against the Cavs and LeBron James. Take life as it comes or grab life by the horns. Dodge. We've got the game on Wednesday for you on WB20 and the Pistons television network. There's two guys on opposite sides of the Wolverine-Buckeye game tomorrow.
Hamming it up a little bit too much.
Yeah. Could we hear any more about that game? 2:35 to play in the half. 56-37 Indiana. Let's check the Central Division standings. Indiana 6-2 despite their injuries. Pistons, I think, happy to be 4-3 coming in tonight anyway, having lost Ben for 2, Chauncey for 1, and Larry Brown for the road trip.
Cleveland's won 4 in a row.
He's still up trying to get some calls here and be a little sore tomorrow. Ronnie Garrettson listening. Kids watching at home on Local 4 on the Pistons television network tonight. Chauncey to trigger. Gives it up to Ben. Shot clock 10. Eldon Campbell checks in for Rashid. Gets it baseline. The turn and gun for the Big Easy. And he hits it.
That's a nice shot. It's a big shot for the Pistons right there.
56-39. They inch closer. 2:15 till halftime. Tinsley overplayed. Clock at 10 as they go to Artest. Pulls his way inside. That's got to be an offensive foul. It is. Pistons get a call. Artest lowered the shoulder. Ron Artest blows the whistle.
Yeah, I think Ronnie Garrettson was going to call a foul on Tayshaun and decided, now he knew there was contact. He just thought about it for a second and then said, all right, I know what to call now.
First personal on Artest. 2 minutes left in the half. 56-39 Indiana. Eldon Campbell. Artest came to double team with Crozier. Eldon forces, draws the foul. This is Crozier's foul, his second.
His second. Team 4.
Well, the Pistons keep attacking Crozier in the post. He's just undersized.
At the line to shoot 2 for Detroit, Eldon.
And it's been successful. Just haven't gone in there enough times. I think there's a chance the Pistons can cut this to 10 by the half.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so. That would be huge.
Put some doubt in Indiana's minds.
I mean, Rick Carlisle and company had a 20-point lead. Six for Eldon Campbell. The lead's 15. A minute and 46 to play in the half. It was 51-31. Jermaine O'Neal, a big possession for Indiana. Fires. All fired, lost by Artest, found by Rip. Chauncey works against Jamal Tinsley. A minute and 22 to play in the half. 56-41 Indiana. Here's the matchup they want. Eldon Campbell against Crozier. Turns and fires. This one's off iron to Crozier. Pretty good defense by Crozier there. Tinsley.
No.
Triple. Jamal Tinsley with another big play.
Well, that's 5-point turnaround, too. The Pistons didn't get. Now Indiana's back in their zone.
They're 6 for 9 from downtown, Bill. 59-41 Indiana. Last minute, first half. Ripped from the corner. He hits it. But still, it's the Pacers by 16.
Yeah, that's a bunch.
Tinsley sees some room. Tried to go deep to Artest. And will jump it up.
Thought Tinsley had a shot, should have shot it, but sometimes you get caught up in that assist game trying to get as many as you can.
Ask your employer for the prevention coverage every family needs exclusively from Health Alliance Plan. Or find out for yourself at HAP.org. Are you powered by HAP? Go to our friend Daryl Johnson at HAP. Thanks to everybody at HAP for their great Pistons support.
Ben should win this tap unless Indiana steals it again like I did the opening one.
6'7" Ron Artest. Ben 6'9". Darvin Ham just checked in for Eldon Campbell. Ben does tap it to Tayshaun. 25 seconds to play in the half. Indiana by 16. Rip drive, Steven Jackson guns off the high glass. It popped out to Artest. 9 seconds, 8. 5 seconds, 4 for Steven Jackson. Inside for Artest. But a 3-second call will take away the basket.
That was big.
And the Pistons have 3.2 seconds to do something about it. They'll take a 20-second timeout. All right, how long was he in there? 1, 2, 3.
Well, that's slow motion, George. That doesn't count. He's in there a lot.
Well, Ron Artest had 17 in the first, Lamb, 1 in the second.
Yeah, but Jermaine O'Neal's picked up the slack somewhat. So did Gill coming off the bench with 5.
Jermaine O'Neal with 8 in the second. Rasheed checking back in for the Pistons. Chauncey with 1 second has to give it up. Rasheed got it up at the horn. And at the half, at the Palace, the Indiana Pacers have hit the Pistons for 59 points. Indiana 59, the Pistons 43 at the break on the Pistons Television Network.
Detroit Pistons basketball is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Health Alliance Plan, providing innovative, high-quality health care to southeastern Michigan. When you play the Michigan Lottery, everyone wins. And by Big Boy Restaurants. Big Boy makes you say, oh boy.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA.
You're watching the Wallside Windows Pistons Halftime Report. Brought to you by Wallside Windows. Most preferred, most referred.
Welcome back to the Palace, and to kick off our Wallside Windows Halftime Report, let's go to public address announcer John Mason for the Michigan Lottery's $2 million drawing.
At this time, please direct your attention here to center court as we prepare to introduce to you a future millionaire. Tonight we'll be conducting the Michigan Lottery's $20 instant game grand prize drawing, and this has been going on since 1972. The Michigan Lottery has contributed more than $11.5 billion to education in Michigan. And at this time, it's a pleasure for me to introduce to you the Commissioner of the Michigan State Lottery, Gary Peters. Gary.
Thank you, Mason. Hello, everybody. This is a very exciting time for the Michigan Lottery because tonight we've got 5 finalists that are going to come on the floor, and one of them is going to walk away $2 million richer. Thanks to players like these finalists, as well as all of you in the audience, last year we had a record year at the Michigan Lottery. $645 million was contributed to Michigan public schools. We also paid out over $1.1 billion to players like the 5 finalists that you're going to see here tonight. The 5 finalists will come on the floor. We're going to draw balls out of this contraption here. And as their names are called, they will be eliminated. When we're down to the finalists, that person will win $2 million. Mason!
Thank you, Gary. Now it's time to meet tonight's $1 million finalists. Remember, Piston fans, one of these contestants is leaving the Palace tonight with $2 million. At guard. From the Michigan State Lottery. You want to know, don't you? It won't be you. I can tell you now. All right, now we'll do this backwards. First runner-up, Greta Walker. Congratulations, Greta. Let's do another basketball and find out whose name is inside. Our second runner-up, Lori Scheineberger. All right, Lori. Boy, we are down to 3 for $2 million. Our third runner-up, Gregory Kolowich. Oh, my. We're now down to 2. Which one will it be? Will it be you or will it be you?
We'll be back to talk to the $2 million winner after these messages. Welcome back to the sold-out Palace. Indiana shocking the Pistons so far, 59-43. George Blaha with Bill Lambier and the star of Channel 4, Local 4, if you will, Bernie Smilovitz.
I love this guy.
Bernie, how surprised are you that Indiana's having its way so far?
Well, you know, the interesting thing is Ron Artest. Everybody talks about Ron Artest, who has a fabulous first quarter. And why do you keep a guy like Ron Artest in your team? I think he just showed you in the first half why you put up with Ron Artest. But I came here and I had one question for the coach and for the player. If you had a guy come to you, if you were an NBA coach and said, I need a month off to go promote a rap album, what would your answer be as a coach, and what would your answer be as a player? Or would they be the same?
As a coach, you have to be diplomatic diplomatic. So you'd say absolutely not, you know, and suspend him as a player. You want to get in a fight right away because that's something you just can't do.
But does that hang over a team for a while?
It depends on the individual, and it depends on if it was a publicity stunt to begin with, or he was really serious. I don't think he was really serious, but you know, wait and see how it all turns out.
And he says he's only producing an R&B album. He's not the performer.
Oh,
but who's counting?
What's all the noise about?
It's promotion, Bernie. Come on.
What's the deal? When's this Pistons defense I've heard so much about from last year going to show up here?
Well, they're going to have to, because Indiana obviously can score.
Yeah, 59 points. I'll bet Larry Brown's got to be seething in there.
Well, Indiana's played very, very well, too. They came here on a mission to show the Pistons that they're not going away, and they've done that.
I still think we're going to see a very interesting second half. That's why we play 48 in this league. See you on the news later?
Yeah, after the game, we'll be live here. We'll have reports, and also from Columbus. I got to go over and meet the millionaire. See ya.
All right.
Bye, Bernie.
Bernie Smilovich with us here at the Palace. We'll be back to meet the 2 millionaire in a moment on the World Champion Pistons Television Network. Indiana leads by 16 at the break, but I'll tell you somebody who's got an even bigger lead than that. Sandra Graves from Copemish, Michigan, up near Cadillac. She just won $2 million from the Michigan Lottery. Congratulations, Sandra.
Thank you very much. I think I just put Copemish on the map.
Now, how big is Copemish?
222 people. It's a village.
Well, you're the most famous person there right now, aren't you?
And the richest, maybe, huh?
You put them on the map. Now, how much money have you spent buying lottery tickets?
That's not a nice question.
Well, it doesn't matter. You're way ahead now, aren't you?
I got to say hello to everybody at the Thompsonville Bar and Grill and tell Kenny to make it home safe, because I'm going to come home and spend the money.
I love it. Sandra, congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much.
From Copemish, Michigan, she just won $2 million. This is the Pistons Television Network. First to start the second half, down 16 to Indiana at the Palace. Ben basket cut, powers it up. Rasheed follows, around and off. He tries again. This time it's down.
Well, that's the player I'd like to see go off right now. He had a great first quarter to start the game. He was into it. I just kind of never got back in the game for whatever reason.
Steven Jackson, which is Jermaine O'Neal's screen. Bounce inside to Artest, to the rim, missed the scoop to Tayshaun. Artest had 17 in the first, 1 in the second.
A little bit more bounce to the Pistons' defensive step out there right now.
The lead's 14. Ben to the rack, on a jam. Oh, the Pistons are playing with some purpose right now.
It has to be sustained for the entire half, though.
Jamal Tinsley goes to Artest with it. Dozier screens. Works the corner against Tayshaun. Foul line, turn and gun, way short.
Much better defensive effort so far by the Pistons.
Ben dishes back behind him to Chauncey. The triple try, around and out.
And the fans wanted that one to go in badly.
They would have exploded. It's 59-47. 16-point lead, trimmed to 12. Indiana once led by 20. Tinsley missed that three. And they're now 6 for 10 from downtown.
Like I said, Indiana played great in the first half. Came away with a substantial lead, but can they play that way in the second half?
Ben across the lane against Jermaine O'Neal. Got the whistle. Third foul on Jermaine O'Neal. 9:52 to play in the third. All-time Windows halftime stats showed the Pacers shooting 48% to 39% for the Pistons. If you look at steals, 8 for Indiana, that and 48% shooting will do you in almost no matter who you are. Our Wallside Windows halftime stats. There's Kevin O'Neal, former Piston assistant with Rick Carlisle. Back with him in Indiana this year.
What's a delay about here?
They now have a couple of guys who concentrate on defense for the Pacers. Kevin O'Neal and Mike Brown. Pistons' third quarters have been good, and they'll need one here. Averaging 25.8 and shooting 55% in the third. Ben got both free throws to go, and it's a 10-point ball game. Tinsley bothered by Chauncey. Looking for a Crozier screen.
Much better defensive intensity. They're all over him right now.
Artest with the clock at 7. Forces from the lane after a walk. Steven Jackson was wide open and called him for the ball on the left sideline. But I tell you what, I don't think that was out of selfishness. I think they were surrounded.
Yeah, they're playing.
You can't see the other guy when you get swarmed like that.
And the Pistons made a commitment in the locker room to come out and give it their best defensive shot.
Chauncey from the top. The triple in and out. Tap Ben, no. Rebound snatched off by Jermaine O'Neal.
No easy transition baskets either. Jammed the rebounder, got back on defense in a hurry.
O'Neal against Ben from the paint. Tough shot. A great make there for Jermaine O'Neal.
They got technical on O'Neal. Taunting.
He celebrated a little bit and pounded his chest. That could be a taunt. Watch what happened.
Oh, he did yell at the ref right there. That's what that was.
Thought he was fouled.
Well, the same call at the other end. If Ben Wallace went to the middle like that, all the contact, they called a third foul on O'Neal. He was one of the same call.
Rip Hamilton makes the tap. It's 61-50.
Good move by Rip Hamilton.
Chauncey feeds Rasheed deep. Got it off glass. Tough catch by Rasheed. And not an easy deuce. He's got the Pistons inside 10. Crozier inside with a pump fake. Can't let him have that. And Tayshaun did his first.
That was a good foul. Here's the last play. Rip already has his player beat, so Crozier sees that. He has to show it's a straight lob to Rasheed then. See that? There it is. Good play by the Pistons.
Part of a 9-2 start in the second half. And Crozier's bleeding.
Officials, 30-second timeout.
We got 30 seconds to stop the bleeding. 8:33 to play here in the third. The Pistons have stormed back. They were down 20. They trailed by 16 at the half. They're within 9 right now. Chad Forcier, another former Piston assistant, and Ron Oliver as well on the Indiana bench over there. David Craig, the trainer. Mike Abdenauer's counterpart has got to get that bleeding stopped. .8:33 to play in the third, folks. Pistons trail at the break 59-43. There's some people way up at the top of the Palace having a great time.
Almost the last row.
And they're Rip Hamilton fan.
And they got on TV.
How did Pete's Court find them way up there? Are they from Edson Ford maybe in Dearborn? Pete's High School. Austin Crozier makes the first free throw. back up by 10. Got them both. He has 10. Indiana by 11. 8.5 to play in the third. Chauncey against Tinsley. Indiana in the zone. Rip down the lane for the scoop and the score.
That was a nice play by Rip. Saw the open lane in the middle and took advantage of it. Finished well.
Pacers by 9. Crozier drive. Wraparound dish to O'Neal, and they had a foul to stop him.
That's 4 on Rashid.
Ben's trying to take the foul, but it is the 4th on Rashid.
There's some confusion on the Pistons bench. I think that's on Wallace, but no, it is on Rashid, and they should make a sub.
And Larry Brown asked, and now he knows. Tim Donaghy told him it was Rashid's foul. Antonio McDyess will check in for Rashid. Jermaine O'Neal's points starting to mount now. 3 in the first, 8 in the second. He's up to 14 on the night. Missed the next free throw. Crozier had it, lost it.
Pistons almost gave that one away. Both players fighting for the rebound. Normally, you have one guy designated that he's going to go get it.
Rip behind a band screen. Misfires to Tinsley.
Rip's working hard to get open.
Jamal Tinsley gets a Crozier screen, gives it up to Jermaine O'Neal, gets it back. Shot clock 12 for Indiana. Jackson from the corner. A bad looking miss. Here comes Chauncey. Tayshaun, quick flip to Rip. This has got a lot of shot clock left. Pass from McDyess, swiped by Tinsley.
Again.
Great anticipation by Tinsley. He has 6 steals. And we'll get a whistle on the run out after the swipe. It's Tayshaun's second foul.
One of my keys to the game at the start was turnovers, and the Pistons have been turning it over a lot compared to Indiana. Pistons have to get over the hump. They have to get that mental block out of the way of that 10-point barrier.
Jermaine O'Neal has missed the first free throw.
I might as well miss the second one too then, right?
Absolutely. Indiana with a 10-point lead. $15 for O'Neal. Indiana by 11. 7 left in the third. Chauncey bumped O'Neal, and that is his 4th. Playing the pick and roll, made a mistake.
And jumped up and almost got a technical foul to go with it too. It would put him out of the game.
They don't have anywhere to go but David Harrison for a big guy.
Yeah, that's a great bonus for the Pistons right there.
Harrison, the rookie from Colorado, 7 foot, weighs 280.
280
in the first half.
Right, 380.
Lamb, I would never say anything about anybody who weighs over 300 pounds. Not working with you and Mahorn. Dan against Crozier. To the paint. Here's the fall away. He filled it up. Pistons within 9. Indiana takes a timeout. 6:36 to play in the third. Pacers 65 and the Pistons 56. Timeout at the Palace on the world champion Pistons television network. The Charlotte Bobcats will be here on Sunday. Budweiser's Automotion will perform Sunday night as well, as they do at every Piston game. And it's the first Subway family night of the season. For $119, you get 4 game tickets, 4 6-inch sub certificates, and 4 Piston collectibles. For your tickets, log on to Pistons.com or call 248-377-0100. That's the only game in the month of November that you'll be able to see at the Palace if you don't already have tickets. All the rest are flat out sold out. And fans, the Pistons presenting sponsor Rock Financial is sending deserving community and youth groups to every Pistons home game. Log on to Pistons.com right now and find out how your group can participate. There's that great classic Piston logo. Two guys who are a defensive puzzle to solve, Ron Artest and Jamal Tinsley there. Tinsley has 6 of Indiana's 9 steals. The Pistons do not have a swipe,
which is very unusual. Ben Wallace on the floor.
But Jermaine O'Neal's on the bench with 4 fouls now for Indiana. As we check our singular wireless points in the paint numbers, Pistons have a 10-point advantage there, 26-16. Points in the paint brought to you by Singular Wireless, the people with that great private club or upgraded Pistons season ticket holders here at the Palace. Steven Jackson will inbound for Indiana. Their lead's now 9. They go to Artest. Across the lane on Tayshaun. Tried to scoop it. Looked like the Pistons got all kinds of ball.
No, Ben Wallace did, but it should be on Tayshaun.
It is Tayshaun's 3rd. Take a look. The push with the right hand, I guess. Ron Artest at the line. We'll get him going again. The first free throw falls.
Sometimes free throws can do that.
Exactly.
Get you off that 0. Get you a little bit of rhythm, and all of a sudden, look out.
Our game's brought to you by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. Go to all our friends at Anheuser-Busch, including James Hunter. Ron Artest up to 20 points now. It's 17 of those in the first. Indiana by 11 as he got them both. Tayshaun dishes inside for Ben.
It's a foul.
And this will be a grab and a foul. Tommy Nunez Jr. calls this on Artest. Just his 2nd. Pistons have Rashid on the bench with 4. Indiana with Jermaine O'Neal on the bench with 4. Rip inbounds to Chauncey.
Refs are blowing the whistle now. Attack the basket. You'll get the call.
Rip with a jumper. Short. Crozier with a rebound. Here comes Jamal Tinsley for Indiana halfway through the 3rd.
Attack the basket. That's where the points will be made.
Tinsley doubled outside. Gives it up to Crozier. Go back outside of Tinsley. Shot clock at 8. Crozier with a screen. Tinsley trying to create something. Hooks it back to Artest. 2 on the clock. A force. Did get some iron. Chauncey and Jackson fight over the rebound. Tim Donaghy will blow the whistle on Steven Jackson.
Refs are trying to take control of this game right now.
Jackson's 2nd. Team fouls are 4-4.
And it was. Players are complaining, but they're wrong.
Here comes Chauncey with 5.5 to play in the 3rd. Indiana by 11. Crozier with a steal. Tinsley will pull it back and set it up for Indiana.
That wasn't even close there.
Steven Jackson missed the leaner. McDyess to Chauncey. Then touches it low to Antonio. Had to tip it back inbound. Goes to Indiana.
Back-to-back turnovers.
67 of 56 Pacers. Artest with a baseline drive, and the whistle blows. He attacked the basket. Tayshaun got him.
That's all you have to do right now is you attack the basket. The referees are saying, all right, we're going to take control of this game for a while. We don't want to get out of hand. And they're going to blow the whistle.
Tayshaun has 4, Bill. Darvin Ham will replace him.
Well, that's some quick fouls on Tayshaun. He came into this half with what? 0? It's 4 fouls in 7 minutes.
You're right. He had no fouls at the break.
Seems like a lot, doesn't it? Get 4 that quick.
Artest makes 2, has 22.
Artest is a really good free throw shooter. You do not want to see him on the line.
69 to 56. Antonio McDyess hands to Chauncey.
Take it to the hoop.
7 o'clock. Backs in on Tinsley. Turns baseline. Guns it down. Found himself a very good shot there. 69-58 Indiana.
Well, Indiana's doing what they're supposed to do right now. Keep it at that 10-point level. Wow.
Tinsley.
What's that?
Rises, misses the 3. The big fella hooks it back and hits it.
That can't happen.
David Harrison with his first 2.
You can't let a big truck like that just wait in there and get offensive rebounds.
71 to 58 Indiana.
Back him down again.
Chauncey again against Tinsley. Gives it up, gets it back. From the lane, hangs, guns, got it.
There's a bigger guard down there. You can take him into post. Indiana's going to have to trap him and get him out of his hands.
71 to 60. Indiana's lead 11 again. 3 and 22 to play in the 3rd. Steven Jackson gives it up to Crozier. Clock at 7. Artest with a clock at 6. Long 2 won't go through. Harrison with the rebound. Took it down and lost it. Somehow got it back. Took a pretty good shot in the chops and got a whistle to blow. His way.
Like I said before, you can't let that big truck wade in there and get rebounds. He's not a good player. That's all he really can do, which is use his big brute strength.
Antonio McDyess with his 3rd foul.
Problem is Ben's guarding him, and when Ben goes to help, there you got a 7-foot, 300+ pound guy on the offensive glass.
Got the first free throw. Pretty good strokes there.
Yeah, they were.
73-60. Indiana by 13. 3 to play in the 3rd. Rip behind the Ben screen. Dishes back to Chauncey. Missed the long gun. Ben gets it back. Gives it up to Rip. And the Pistons have sent it back outside. Down 13. They trailed by 16 at the half. Tony McDyess, nice, gives back to Rip on the cut, and he laid it in.
That was a very nice play. Rip's always moving.
The Energizer Bunny, 73-62. Indiana's leads 11 again.
I like the way McDyess can pass the ball. I just like to see him score a bit more.
Crozier. Nothing but net. Crozier has a dozen.
Tough shot.
They had to get that himself. 75-62.
Right back in the zone.
2 to play in the 3rd. down the lane. Lost the handle to Crozier.
Wrong guy to dribble against his zone. You don't want to dribble against his zone to begin with, but if you do, have a guard do it.
Pass inside, batted away. Chauncey with a steal on Artest.
There's some free throws.
And that would be the Pistons' first steal. And they'll get the foul call and go to the line in a minute on the Pistons television network. Chris Chelios and Kid Rock at the Palace tonight for the Pistons and the Indiana Pacers. And let's take a look at Ben going to work against Indiana.
And he has been, too. He has played an outstanding basketball game. 13 points, 8 rebounds. Pretty nice.
Ben 5 out of 10 from the floor. His shot chart brought to you by McDonald's. Doing his work inside. As usual, the shot chart for Ben Wallace brought to you by McDonald's. Ben and the Pistons with 1:42 to play in the third. Trail Indiana 75-62. Rasheed Wallace on the bench with 4 fouls. For Indiana, Jermaine O'Neal on the bench with 4 fouls. Ruth Riley at the game tonight. We saw her for a moment there. Stepping to the stripe, Chauncey. Tinsley with his second foul.
Chauncey's starting to come alive in the sack.
Both teams shooting the lights out from the line, but Indiana with 29 tries from the stripe. Chauncey has 11. The Pistons are within 11. He got them both. Austin Crozier had it on top. Now Artest gives it back to him. Long gunning short. Harrison with a rebound.
3 offensive rebounds in this quarter. Harrison.
Fred Jones on the floor for the Pacers. Resting Steven Jackson. Tinsley with a clock at 6. Artest bricked it. Tinsley trying to be heads up and get it up there in time before the 24 went off. But his shot was wide. And the 24-second violation gives the ball to the Pistons.
Indiana's in an offensive lull right now. The Pistons should be able to take advantage of it. The Pistons are playing good defense, but Indiana has lost a little bit of their energy right now.
75-64 Indiana. 50 seconds to play in the third. Rip against Jones. Nice up fake and a hanger. He doesn't hit it, but he does get the whistle. It's on Fred Jones.
You kind of feel the game changing right here. You think the Pistons have a little bit of an opening. They sense it a little bit. Indiana has a lot of bench players out there right now.
Lindsey's about to check in. Oh, when the Piston guards get to the line, they cash in.
Very good free throw shooters.
Tonight, as a matter of fact, they're perfect. Chauncey rested by Lindsey with 44.9 to play in the third. Rip 7 for 7. Chauncey 5 for 5 at the line. And that leads inside 10 with 40 seconds to play in the third. Jamal Tinsley against Lindsey. Near swipe by Rip on Jones. Shot clock at 7 for Artest. Ron Artest goes to Tinsley with it. Gunning got it with a shot clock running out.
Ouch.
Tinsley's third triple tonight.
That was a huge basket for Indiana. They were struggling. Pistons were on the move. That one hurt.
And now the Pistons are down a dozen. They are 7 for 15 from downtown. Here's a strip by Tinsley. Can he get a shot off in time? Yeah. And he lays it in at the horn.
Ouch.
I don't know about you, but I think Jamal Tinsley has been the best player in a Pacer uniform tonight. 7 steals now. He finishes the quarter with a steal and a hoop. 80-66 Indiana. After 3 on the world champion Pistons television network.
Detroit Pistons basketball is brought to you by Chevy. Turn a key and start a revolution at your Detroit area Chevy dealer. Let the party begin at Greektown. And come into McDonald's today for America's favorite fries.
Welcome back inside the Palace. The Pistons had cut it to 9 before a personal 5-0 run to finish the third by Jamal Tinsley put Indiana up 80-66 through 3 before the 36th consecutive sellout here at the Palace. Pistons leading the league at 22,076. Then Dallas, then Chicago, Utah, and Miami rounding out the top 5.
Well, the 22,076, a little shell shocked after that last 30 seconds. That one hurt the Pistons badly.
Lindsey, Darvin, Rip, Antonio, McDyson, Ben start the 4th. Eddie Gill in the ball game with Fred Jones. We'll check the rest of the starters in a moment. Points off turnovers critical so far tonight as we check our 5th third bank quick stats. Pistons just get 2 from Lindsey. They add to their points off turnovers, but it's still a 17-6 advantage for Indiana. 5th third bank. Look at the only bank you'll ever need. And the Pistons put a trap on Eddie Gill.
Well, the intensity.
Jump ball.
Intensity shown on defense right here by the Pistons. I think Indiana has a complaint there.
If you're the Pistons, you got to play like you can't be bothered if they call a foul or 2. I hope you get away with a couple. Rip Hamilton with a big size advantage.
I thought that was Lindsey Hunter in the jump ball.
Over the 6-footer Eddie Gill. He taps it, but Artest has it. Eddie Gill in trouble, delivers it across the timeline. Rip knocks it out of bounds. They have Jermaine O'Neal back in the game with David Harrison and Artest. Then Gill's coming out. Rick Carlisle gets Jamal Tinsley back in the game.
Yep. The Piston bench was yelling for an 8-second violation in the backcourt, but not after a jump ball, or not after something happens in the backcourt.
All right, we're back to the live action. Tinsley cross courts to Artest. Up gunning, no. Jermaine O'Neal tries to follow, and he is fouled.
And fouled hard.
Yeah, he had to feel that. Darvin Ham got him. Pistons started the second half with a 9-2 run to open the third, but Jamal Tinsley had the triple, then the steal, and the hoop right before the horn to push the lead back to 80-66. Pistons got a steal to shorten it up to 80-68, and now Jermaine O'Neal is at the line.
Need a miss.
Jermaine O'Neal makes twice. He has 17. Artest leads him with 22. Tinsley has 13, 6 assists,
and a bunch of steals.
And 7 steals. Antonio McDyess fakes the pass, misses the turn and gun. Jermaine O'Neal out to Tinsley.
That's a player that needs to get on track for the Pistons, not only for this game, but for the next few games.
Darvin Ham called for the foul as Indiana comes to forecourt. Darvin's second, the Pistons second. Larry Brown looking on there. Coaching against Rick Carlisle, the former Piston coach. Fred Jones has to comply with the rules and get that shirt tail tucked in.
Sloppy job tucking it in, too.
Yep.
Half of it still hanging out.
Third-year guy from Oregon. 14th pick in the 02 draft.
Nice play.
Here's a steal by Antonio McDyess on his pass inside for Jermaine O'Neal.
Now capitalize and get a bucket. Can't let too many possessions go by without scoring.
Antonio McDyess back outside to Rip. Long gun and got it. Rip with the triple. And the lead's 11.
Timeout, Indiana.
Oh, Indiana's taking a timeout. 10 and 21 to go in the game. Pacers 82, the Pistons 71 on the long gun from Rip Hamilton. Timeout at the Palace. This is the world champion Pistons television network. Pistons have shortened this score to an 11-point Indiana lead. Let's go to the scoreboard, though, now with Bill Lambier.
And the NBA scoreboard is brought to you by Taco Bell. Looks like Toronto's bubble has burst as Seattle, surprise team, is winning. San Antonio, they're just flat out good. Miami beating Utah in OT. New York, they're hanging in there, but Dallas is a surprise team also this year. Chicago is just flat out awful. And Phoenix is a surprise team, and the Lakers, you know they're going to struggle. Milwaukee at Portland and Memphis at Sacramento later on. And that was brought to you by Taco Bell.
We want to make sure Lamb gets all the tacos he wants. That's why we let him read those score.
Chicago's bad, aren't they, George?
Oh, man. All those people keep going to those games, though. How about Seattle? They're 9-1.
I know it. Go figure. You know, here's a guy who's going to be on the hot seat, McMillan, their coach, and all of a sudden, whoa.
.com poll question. Who's the best defensive player in the NBA?
What a surprise.
Ben wins big around these parts. And I believe he should. With all that he does defensively and the fact that he's a big man and is so physical. I don't know why you traded for any other defensive player. Jones misses. Lindsey board. Lindsey and Chauncey, Darvin Ham and Rashid now, and Antonio McDyess for the Pistons with 10 minutes left. They're down 11.
But Indiana keeps shooting three-pointers. They're not going in right now.
Lindsey makes a tough catch there on the sideline. Drives Tinsley. Dishes back to Antonio McDyess. Off the iron. Fred Jones with the rebound.
He's got to make one of those.
Jones and Tinsley, Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, and David Harrison, who's looked much better in the second half, on the floor for Indiana. Fred Jones bouncing a corner to Jermaine O'Neal. Up shooting, no. Chauncey with the board.
Jump shot, jump shot,
yeah.
Jump shot for Indiana. They're not going in either. Come on, McDyess, get a bucket.
Antonio McDyess against Jermaine O'Neal, gives it up to Chauncey. Plenty on the clock. Lindsey's wide open for the triple try. It is through for three.
Now the crowd's into it.
How about that? Don't look now, but the Pistons are within 8. 82-74. Jermaine O'Neal screens for Tinsley. Pistons shooting 52% now in the second half. Tinsley nearly lost the handle. 4 on the clock. Turns, forces.
Travel.
Banked it in, but he walked. Tinsley in trouble. Had to take an extra step to get a shot off.
Now the pressure by the Pistons has caused this. Yep, that's a walk.
Kind of night Tinsley's having. No, that thing went in off glass. Steven Jackson about to return with Crozier for the Pacers. 8:35 left. Pistons within 8. And we got a foul away from the ball. It's on Harrison.
Here come the rest of the troops for Indiana. Try to stem the tide. The Pistons have a good roll going right now. Rasheed's the kind of guy that gets emotional and can really go off right now if you give him the ball down low.
Chauncey inside for Rasheed. Good call, Bill. Count down, baby, and a foul.
Well, Chauncey got the ball. That's just pretty lucky that that ball went in. That ball was long gone from his hands.
Jackson's third. The team fouls are 2-2 watch.
That's just luck that it goes in, but hey, you know, he attacked the rim.
Marvin Ham sits down.
Many of the fans on their feet right now. They sense a good comeback.
Rasheed's at the line. 8:26 left. The Pistons have sliced it to 6. He hits it. And now it's a 5-point Indiana lead.
Indiana's going to need somebody to step up and make shots for them. Artest is out of the game.
Lindsey fouls Tinsley, trying to make a steal at the timeline. 3 team fouls on the Pistons. Lindsey's third.
8:19 still to go in this game is forever.
That's why you gotta love 48-minute game. You really gotta win it. Inside, Jermaine O'Neal gets a jam.
He said, "Get out of my way."
Tinsley got him the ball. He has 7 feeds to go with his 7 steals. Pacers by 7. Play that number. Chauncey with a jab step on Jones. Back the other way and dish it across the floor. Pacers knock it out of bounds. 6 on the shot clock.
There's Jermaine just being nasty and says, "I'll show you how it's done. Let me get a score right here." Wham!
Timeout. 7:48 left. The Pistons take a full timeout. They've sliced the lead to 7 despite Jermaine O'Neal's jam. This is the Pistons Television Network. Malice is rocking now. Indiana 84 and the Pistons 77. And the Pistons have outscored Indiana 11-4 in the 4th. It was 11-2 before Jermaine O'Neal's jam. Right before the timeout. Ben still resting. Antonio McDyess stays in the game with Rasheed, who has stepped up tonight. Time for a primetime performance brought to you by Rock Financial.
Yeah, Rasheed, he came to play tonight. He loves big games. He likes challenges, especially playing against Jermaine O'Neal. And he has performed well.
After that make, he knocked a free throw down too to make it a 5-point lead. He has 16 points and 9 rebounds. The lead back to 7 now, but that primetime performance by Rasheed Wallace brought to you by Rock Financial.
And he's been in foul trouble most of the game.
Pistons have a shot clock that's down to 6. They've got to hustle here. Now it's a 5-4-3 for Chauncey. Topside triple try, no. And here comes Indiana after Jermaine O'Neal's 10th rebound. Fred Jones to Jermaine O'Neal. Dropped it back baseline to Jones. Short-armed it. Rasheed with a rebound.
Jermaine O'Neal should have been the one taking the shot, not Jones.
Chauncey hangs, and he is hit. And fouled by Jones. And Ben's about to check back into the ball game.
Both teams with 3 team fouls.
Buy some season tickets. Create your own fans' choice mini plan. That means you buy 5 for the price of 4 and you pick the games. Call 248-377-0100 or log on to Pistons.com. I do it soon, however. Like we told you, every game but the Sunday game against Charlotte is sold out for the rest of November. Ben's back. So's Tayshaun, Antonio McDyess, and Lindsay. Sit down.
Piston sat out for a long time, those 4 fouls.
Chauncey calmly knocked them both down. Piston trying to get loose. Again, Indiana's lead. File down to 5. 7:08 to go. Tinsley on his pass. Lost the handle. Ben ahead to Chauncey. Tinsley feeling like he was fouled, and maybe he was.
I think he was too. It happened right in front of us.
Rasheed inside, off the high glass, missed it. Crozier rebounds, and Tinsley was just pushed down by Rip.
I'm not sure if that was accidental or accidentally on purpose. But that is the 4th team foul. See, I think that was a here, take this with you.
Well, the Pistons have 14 fouls. Pacers 3. 6.5 left. Artest in the post to Jermaine O'Neal. Faces Rasheed. Half looks over him wide. Ben controls the glass. Forecourt to Chauncey.
As close as they've been in a long time with a bucket here.
Ben against Crozier. Right around him. Flipped it up and it rolled off the rack. Artest with a rebound for Indiana. Basket cut by Steven Jackson. Flipped it in front to Jermaine O'Neal.
Be Indiana's basketball on the side.
Ron Gertson may call a foul.
They called a foul? Oh, that's a foul on Chauncey. I thought it was a kick ball.
That's what the Piston bench thought, too.
Wow. That's what he signaled to start.
That's the first on Chauncey.
Yeah, but it foul
tough to take for Larry Brown.
A foul by Rip Hamilton now has put Indiana in the penalty.
Jermaine O'Neal has struggled at the line a little bit. He's down 9 for 13.
That's about his normal percentage, I think. He's got to be 78.
He gets another.
74-6 from Jermaine Willis for the year.
One for 2 there. 6-point Indiana lead.
She lost the headband. Is that they're playing without it. Back to basket.
Chauncey backs in on Gill, who just come on. Missed on the turn and gun. Jermaine O'Neal with a rebound. Gill handled against Chauncey.
We're going to find out.
Artest against Tayshaun, clock at 10. Steven Jackson from deep. Rebound Tayshaun.
That was great box out by the Pistons. All players kept their man off the board. Tayshaun happened to be the free one.
Indiana by 6. Rasheed turns, fires. How'd that thing come out? Around and out. It's Indiana's basketball.
It's interesting because both coaches took an early timeout in this quarter. There won't be another timeout for another 3+ minutes. And the game has gotten real intense right now.
Here comes Tinsley with a 6-point lead. Crozier triples.
Whoa.
And he didn't even give it a thought.
Yeah, he just going to raise up and shot it early in the shot clock. Surprised me.
Got all his confidence back now. Getting mega minutes.
That was a tough bucket right there.
88-79. Tayshaun missed this one. O'Neal hands to Tinsley.
Larry Brown is not happy with that particular shot selection.
4:35 to go. Jermaine O'Neal sends it to Steven Jackson for a foul from the corner. Back-to-back triples by the Pacers. Put them up 91-79.
And Larry's really hot now.
They have scored 7 straight. O'Neal split at the stripe. And long guns from Crozier and Jackson. Timeout on the Pistons television network. Well, the Pistons had pulled within 5 at 84-79. Indiana suddenly on a 7-0 run. Come on out Sunday night. There are tickets left for that one. Nothing left for the rest of the month. Emeka Okafor and the Charlotte Bobcats in their first NBA season. They're now the 30th NBA team. Will be here for Subway Family Night, the first one of the season. For as low as $119, you get 4 game tickets, 4 6-inch sub certificates, and 4 Piston collectibles. Call for your tickets at 248-377-0100 right now. We have salespeople on duty, or log on to Pistons.com. Check a primetime performance now for Rock Financial, and you really got to look at the Pacers from downtown. They've had 9 makes from behind the long line tonight in 20 tries.
That's been one of the differences in this ball game.
Crozier and Jackson with the last 2 that lengthened this lead to 91-79. Primetime performances brought to you by Rock Financial.
And getting to the free throw line has also been a key for Indiana in this game.
They've had 33 tries. The Pistons 22 tries from the line. Tayshaun to forecourt. Tayshaun, Chauncey, Rasheed, Ben, and Rip, the Piston starters out there. Still have over 4 minutes to come back against Indiana. Rasheed out to screen for Chauncey, gets the bounce back. Rises and guns. Short to Jermaine O'Neal.
Well, that's their 3-point attempt that Pistons did not need. Did not execute the offense.
Steven Jackson. Low post to O'Neal. Hands back to Jackson. A no-look dish for a dunk. From O'Neal to Jackson.
And Indiana's played well. They've deserved this game.
93-79. 3:39 to go.
Funny things do happen.
Tayshaun from deep in the corner. 3 ball. Won't drop. It's out of bounds off Ben.
How many 3-pointers have they shot in the last 6 possessions? 4? They're just jacking it up from 3-point land instead of attacking the basket. You can make a 3-point play by attacking the basket.
Tinsley gives it up to Steven Jackson for Indiana. Jackson bumps off Rip, missed it. Ben boards to Chauncey. Ben with 10 rebounds and 16 points. But Indiana leads 93-79.
There'll be free throws for the Pistons.
They'll get to the line here, get the clock stopped with 2:56 left.
Steven Jackson is 4. 2-4.
No, that's only 4.
That is correct.
Shoot the next. Tayshaun to Ben inside. 4 on the clock for Rasheed. The turn and gun by Rasheed. No, Tayshaun taps it outside. Rasheed hustles it down for Chauncey. Chauncey drives it.
Nobody wants to shoot.
Rasheed will, and he hits it. Rasheed has 19. The lead's 11. Still 2:22 to go.
You need to stop.
And then another one. And Indiana will take a timeout.
Smart call. Smart call.
Pacers take timeout with 2:14 to go. Their lead's 11 at the Palace on the Pistons television network. The Pistons have pulled with an 11. It's 93-82. They have 2 minutes and 14 seconds to do something about the 11-point lead for Indiana. Sunday night, our next telecast on Piston TV will be on Fox against the expansion Charlotte Bobcats, led by Emeka Okafor, the most outstanding player in the Final Four, Detroiter Steve Smith, the Michigan State star, Primoz Krisic, the big man who's coming on, and Gerald Wallace as well.
Well, there's no easy games in the NBA, but there's going to be one or two. The next two.
Yep.
All right.
Those games against the expansion Bobcats will be on Fox. We'll be back on Wednesday on WB20 and the Pistons television network against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a nice squad.
Right, won 4 in a row right now. Second place out ahead of the Pistons.
5 in a row, actually.
You are right, 5 in a row.
LeBron's going to be an MVP candidate one of these times soon.
Team has to win first.
Yeah. Yeah, 5-3 means there's still a lot of season ahead.
Yep.
Indiana trying to hang on to the lead. They're up 11, 2 to go. Backing in is Jermaine O'Neal. They ran on a shot clock. Rasheed blocked the shot. That's a violation against Indiana. Rasheed wanted to walk before he had to block the shot. Take a look.
It is the NBA. They do allow a shuffle here or there.
Smush Parker checks in. We took a look at that Pete Scores replay. Minute and 50 to go. Rasheed calls for it inside, hands to Rip for the baseline drive, and got caught in the air. Threw it right to Tinsley.
Rip has played very well this season, but not tonight.
Tinsley just hanging on to it for Indiana. Inside for Artest, blocked by Ben. Artest is on the floor. Pistons going 5-on-4 the other way. Rasheed from downtown long. And Artest will get a bunny the other way. And a little rim hang.
Yeah, but no chin-up music for the technical.
He has 24. But Tinsley's been their best player.
More turnovers.
Tinsley dishes to Steven Jackson. Fouled by Chauncey.
They got to give Indiana credit. They came in here a little short-handed. They took it to the Pistons from the start to the finish. Pistons made a run, but Indiana kept their composure, and they're going to pull out a nice win for them.
But Tinsley didn't end up that far away from a triple-double. He had 7 steals, 8 assists, and 13 points. Steven Jackson's at the line. They had to rely heavily on their starters, and they all came up big. Jackson has 12. Artest with 24. Jermaine O'Neal with 20 and 13 rebounds. 15 and 6 boards for Austin Crozier.
Once was a sellout crowd, it is now pretty empty here.
Steven Jackson with a pair of free throws. It's 97-82 Indiana. Thomas Parker activated today when Carlos Delfino were on the injured list with a knee bruise. Ben to the rack, lays it up, no, but we do have a whistle and a foul. Ben just went after Artest.
Oh, that's not
we
good
got
for Ben.
trouble right here in the Motor City. We got big trouble here in the Motor City.
That's not good for Ben. And Derek Coleman had left the bench. That's going to be a suspension. I don't understand. I never saw what set it off, but that's going to cost Ben some money and maybe something else.
Larry Brown trying to hang on to Ben. And Garhert trying to keep Rip Hamilton away. I don't know. There could have been some words spoken out here we don't know about, even though we're in the front row. Steven Jackson still screaming at the Pistons. Derek Coleman pulling Ben back. Garhert pulling Chauncey back.
I can't tell what's going to happen here. The dice is down all the way down there. He came back now, but
Alden Campbell being pulled back by Pat Sullivan.
That was Alden Campbell that was down there, not Derek Coleman looking at it.
Now Ron Artest is going on the headsets. The Indiana broadcast.
And Ben Wallace is threw something at him again. Ben's going to get a substantial fine and suspension if he doesn't really slow down here.
Rashid is still over on the Indiana side of the timeline.
There goes Ben Wallace again.
There goes Artest up into the crowd. He's absolutely out of his mind. And Steven Jackson slugging people in the crowd here.
The whole Indiana team is in the crowd.
And now the Pistons are coming over.
This is not good for the NBA or for Detroit.
This is the ugliest scene you'll ever see.
Rashid has to get out of the stands.
What in the world is going on here?
Rashid's trying to be a peacekeeper in the whole thing up in the stands right now.
Rick Mahorn jumped up to try and keep people apart.
There's a fight down the other end right now. Ben Wallace is on the floor.
Well, the officials have no way to control this. And the coaches and the assistant coaches and everybody, when these guys lose it, and there's so many of them, there's almost nothing you can do. This was a Pier 6 brawl at the Palace tonight. And we still have 45.9 seconds to go.
Indiana's whole team is leaving the court, going to a locker room. People are throwing things, bottles, etc. They're showering with beer now.
Have you ever, Bill?
Well,
I've been in the league 49 years. I've never seen anything like that. I've seen a couple of guys in the stands for a fight, and now they're still going at it down on the other end.
This is not a pretty sight, but it happens. Very emotional game. Indiana came here with a lot of intensity, a lot of emotion, and they're really throwing stuff at Indiana going out the tunnel right now.
Well, it's Ron Artest, I believe, who was the object of the fans' wrath over there. You may never see anything like this again in pro sports.
Well, at least in the NBA, because this is going to be a serious situation, and they have called the game for the rest of the game, is what the announcer is saying over to PA.
The game has been called. Indiana wins the game, if you remember, 97-82. And the way it ended was as ugly as anything you may ever see.
Yeah, they'll be unbelievable is going to be the fines and also the suspensions that will be coming out of this game.
Well, the fans, like most fans, hollering at some of the Pacer players, and then suddenly Ron Artest ran into the stands. I mean, you can get hurt at a game like this.
Yeah, I don't know what set that one off, because Ron Artest was way down at the other end, and he just came wailing down the scorer's table, jumped into the stands, and started hitting people.
Here's how it started. Ben to the basket. Hard foul by Artest. Ben said, I've had enough. That's enough. I'm going to shove you. And now poor Tommy Nunes Jr. is trying to keep them apart. And Rasheed Wallace is trying to keep Ben away.
Yep.
But Rip is hot. And Steven Jackson now steps up into the middle of it.
Well, if it ended right there, okay, life was wonderful. Ron Artest goes and gets out of the way. Okay, which he doesn't, with this baggage he's been having, he doesn't want any part of it. And here comes Ron Artest into the stands.
Up into the stands to swing at a fan. This guy runs into the stands to swing at a fan. A guy half his size. Now Steven Jackson's up there swinging at people.
Mahorn's in the
Ricky Mahorn is trying to break it up. Ditto for Rasheed.
And there's a fan punching Artest.
Mike Brown, the Indiana coach up there, one of the assistants, trying to slow things down. Rick Carlisle gets Ron Artest out of there briefly.
Well, the cardinal sin of any professional sporting event is that a player, no matter what happens, cannot go into the stands. That is the ultimate sin as far as any professional sport is concerned. You can have your fights on the floor, take your suspensions, but when you start going to after the fans, oh, it's another one. Here's a fan walking up to Artest, and Ron swings at him. Ooh, O'Neal will get a tremendous fight. O'Neal swinging at a fan. Man, this is going to be set an all-time record for number of games suspended and for the number of dollars that are going to be given away by some of these players. It's going to be the all-time record in terms of ugliness at a professional sporting event. It's unfortunate it had to happen in the NBA and at the Palace. Man, oh man, Rick Mahorn, the peacemaker. What are you going to do? We'll be back in just a moment with more from the Palace.
Watching Local 4 News at 11.
Right now, we begin with Pistons post-game analysis live from the Palace.
At 1-800-333-ROCK. By Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. Turn a key and start a revolution at your Detroit area Chevy dealer. When you play the Michigan Lottery, everyone wins. By the new Singular, raising the bar. By Subway, eat fresh. By your Metro Detroit Ford dealers, think Ford first. By Wallside Windows and entertainment. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. And by Comerica. We listen, we understand, we make it work.
Well, after all of this, can we concentrate on bell ringers for Bell Tire and Kelly Tires? 4 triples, $100 to the Pistons Palace Foundation. And Rasheed Wallace is the Piston player of the game for Bud Light. Rasheed with 19 points and 10 rebounds and a pair of blocks. And our sub of the game, Lindsey Hunter, at 5 points in 12 minutes. And he is our sub of the game, brought to you by Subway. And the play of the game is brought to you by your Detroit area Chevy dealer. Turn a key and start a revolution at your Detroit area Chevy dealer. Rasheed's hoop and free throw. That's about the time the Pistons cut it down to 5. Indiana went on a 7-0 run. And they win the game, suspended in the final minute because of the brawl. Welcome to our Chevrolet post-game report. And in the aftermath of what happened here, this is a serious news story. This is no longer a basketball game. And you got to stop talking about the basketball game. Indiana won it. The NBA got themselves a bad piece of publicity here tonight. George Blaha with Bill Lambier and Bernie Smilovitz. I don't believe what I just saw, Bernie.
Well, I was just telling Billy that I think the last time we saw anything close to that here was when he got in a fight with Charles Barkley, but the fans were not involved. And
right.
When that thing started, when Ben pushed him, I walked down about halfway, and Artest was sitting on that table, and his beer came flying out of the stands, and that thing hit him square in the head, and he exploded off that table, and he went into the stands, and that's when guys started jumping over, and people in press row, Nancy and Eddie and a couple other people here, the Palace staff, were injured and were hurt. I mean, this is an ugly, ugly situation, and I don't know how you could have avoided it except cleared them quicker. But with 45 seconds left, this game is done.
Yep, it's been called off. The Indiana Pacers hung on to win, but when the tempers flared, and Ron Artest is an edgy kind of player. Ben went to the basket. It was a hard foul. You know, on the edge of being a flagrant foul. Ben had had enough.
That happens, though.
Yeah, went after him.
What happens on the court?
Yeah, and that should have stayed right on the court.
You can have a fight on the court. You can have altercations on the court. That's intense professional sports. And okay, that happens. There's going to be fines, suspensions, but when it spills over into the crowd, that is the cardinal sin of any professional sporting event. You do not go into the stands after the fans. You cannot do it. That's like a whole season suspension at times, ugliness as it was right now.
I don't have any idea how David Stern and his people are going to be able to sort all this out and dispense the kind of justice they feel they needed to dispense in this situation, because you don't see things like this. I saw Eric Money and Charles Dudley in the stands in a playoff game back in the 70s. I saw Bob Lanier and Bernard King in the stands in New Jersey maybe 6-7 years later. But there weren't any fans involved.
Right.
One guy chased another guy in the stands.
Well, there were some serious haymakers on the fans down there by the Indiana bench. Not only in the stands right here behind the scorer's table, but down at the end of Indiana's bench, they were really attacking the fan and just hauling off and just wailing on them, and that can't happen.
You've seen that happen in baseball this year, where a couple of years ago also, where a couple guys came out of the Dodgers dugout and fought the fans in the right field stands. But once the fans are involved in this thing, a player cannot go into the stands. You're right. That's the single rule in all the sports. You cannot mix this into the stands. And this is, I don't even know how you begin to sort this whole thing out, and where you guess what Ron Artest gets for this thing.
I'd like to see it again.
Yeah,
well, let's see how it started. I think Pete Skorich, our producer-director, just rolled some highlights or lowlights a moment ago. This is how it started.
This is okay. This is basketball.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
You know, you got two intense teams. Artest, they're going to get you a hard foul.
Yeah.
All right, now Ben, he takes exception. Okay, that happens. It wasn't a punch. It was a two-handed to the face. All right, the teams are going to get all scrummy, and you know you're going to get a lot of pushing and shoving, and
that's a hard foul.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay, but so what?
Okay, at the end of the game, and it's done.
Right, and Ben does the right thing too. He goes and sticks up for himself.
See, that's the beer that came flying. Now, you'll see me running back there somewhere, but he comes right. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Now, does he know where that came from, or did he just go to the first place?
I'm not sure. But as you can see, Steven Jackson.
Yeah, but
it's hard to hit punches like this in a big crowd like this. I mean, this is very ugly, but it gets even worse. You have fan gets in there and
see Rick Mahorn trying to break it up too.
Yeah, and Rasheed Wallace went into stands to also try to break it up also. But that was a very ugly scene. But down at the other end of the bench, another altercation went off, and there were some very serious punches being thrown down there by the Indiana bench.
And fans have to understand, and these were Piston fans undoubtedly.
But that was a very ugly scene. But down at the other end of the bench, another altercation went off, and there were some very serious punches being thrown down there by the Indiana bench.
And fans have to understand, and these were Piston fans undoubtedly, and Palace fans, they have to understand there's a certain way that they have to behave as well. You can't be throwing a cup of beer at a player and hit him in the head. And then the fans who came out there by the Indiana bench when it was over to challenge a player, what do you think's going to happen to you?
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Fans can't go on the court, especially in a heated situation like that. You're fair game, but unfortunately, that's the way it works out.
And then when you see a teammate in the stands, my guess is everybody's going to defend their teammate. I mean, they're going to take care of it.
Yeah, it's just an instinctive thing.
Right,
sure.
Exactly. Yeah. This is really, it's a sad way. I mean, we were so pumped up for a great basketball game and just a terrible, terrible ending. This is really kind of embarrassing, I would think, at this point.
Ugly at the Palace tonight. We'll have more in a moment. Stay with us.
Well, I saw the foul, and the guy never made an attempt.
Let's go right now to Larry Brown. He's live.
Up 14 points with 49 seconds to go, 15 points. I don't know if that's something you expect. And Ben didn't throw a punch, he pushed. And unfortunately, fans got involved, and that was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life as a coach or a player. You know, I've seen fights happen before, but the players and the referees and the coaches usually handle it. But when it extends into the fans, that's pretty ugly. Indiana played great, and they deserved to win, but it shouldn't have ended like that.
You have a guy with different behavior, like Artest, a highly emotional guy. You think he might have tension enough to Ben?
Well, I'm not going to. You'll see the foul. You see the foul and think if there was an attempt for the ball. There was none. Ben didn't punch. He pushed him. Now you can sort it out if you're a referee. And then you see what Artest did. He laid on the side, and unfortunately somebody threw a beer at him and he went off. But, there were players in the stands trying to help and police it. Rashid, I saw little Jones kid, I saw Harrison in the stands trying to help. And I told our team, I said, we're all in this together. We all got to help, but there's no excuse for fans to act that way, and there's no excuse for players to take it.
For fans in this building tonight?
I mean, I was worried about our players' families and young kids. Just never seen anything like that. I didn't know what to do myself personally. Try to control the players, but I've never seen it go in a situation like that. Maybe I've seen a hockey game once, but hey, I love fans to be involved and cheer, but to throw things and that's not what our fans are like. And then for players to act like that, to understand that's something I think we're all taught. Between the lines, a lot of things happen, but there's no place now for anybody.
Can you even guess at what the ramifications of all this may be? I mean, I think everybody but Piston left your bench.
Well, I mean, I didn't see a referee help. Unfortunately, I got so mad. I was trying to get to see if somebody in the public address would say something. Nothing was said till it was over. But all I'm saying, look at the foul and see if with 15-point lead with 49 seconds to go, if you justify that. And then what happened, there was no flagrant, nothing called. Nobody got in the way. Once Ben pushed him, Artest went to lay down. I didn't see anybody get in. And the way I saw the Indiana coaches making an unbelievable effort to help. I'm glad our team walked, because I was worried about Steven Jackson and Artest, as silly as they were acting. I saw some people take punches at them as well.
Well, he said what you said, Bill. A lot of things happen between the lines.
Right, and that's part of sports. But when it gets into the stands, that's not good.
Incredible events tonight. Bernie will have more on Local 4 News. I know this probably the lead story a lot of places, and I'm sorry we had to witness this tonight, but when it gets all sorted out, we'll see what the final results will be.
All right, yeah, from what I'm told, you gentlemen are going to come over and we're going to chat more about it also. So stick around, and we're going to show the entire brawl also. All right,
it's a deal. Indiana wins the basketball game. As Larry Brown said, they deserved to win the game, but what happened in the last minute here at the Palace was nothing but ugly. For Bill and for Bernie, I'm George Blaha. So long, everybody, from the Palace.
Deserving to win is one thing, but a brawl at the Palace, it's making breaking news right now. A fight on the court spills out into the stands. Players, coaches, and fans all jump into the action. Well, many of you saw it live right here on Local 4.
Inexplicable, but with 45 seconds left in the game, a fight broke out between Ben Wallace and Ron Artest, the Indiana Pacers. Here's how it all unfolded just a short time ago.
Lays it up, no, but we do have the whistle of foul. Ben just went after Artest. We got trouble right here in the Motor City. We got big trouble here in the Motor City.
It's not good for Ben, and Derek Coleman is up the bench. That's going to be a suspension. I don't understand, never saw what set it off, but that's going to cost Ben some money and maybe something else.
Larry Brown trying to hang on the bench. Some words spoken out here we don't know about, even though we're in the front row. Steven Jackson still screaming at the Pistons. Derek Coleman pulling Ben back. Garher pulling Chauncey back.
I can't tell how many what's going to happen here. The dice is down all the way down there. He came back now, but
being pulled back by Pat Sullivan.
Campbell that was down there.
Now Ron Artest is going on the headsets. The Indiana broadcast.
And Ben Wallace is threw something at him again. Ben's going to get a substantial fine and suspension if he doesn't really slow down here.
Still over on the Indiana side of the timeline.
There goes Ben Wallace again.
There goes Artest up into the crowd. He's absolutely out of his mind. And Steven Jackson slugging people in the crowd here.
The whole Indiana team is in the crowd.
And now the Pistons are coming over.
This is not good for the NBA or for Detroit.
This is the ugliest scene you'll ever see.
Rashid has to get out of the stands.
What in the world is going on here?
Rashid trying to be a peacekeeper in the whole thing up in the stands right now.
Rick Mahorn jumped up to try and keep people apart.
There's a fight down the other end right now. Ben Wallace is on the floor.
Well, the officials have no way to control this. And the coaches and the assistant coaches and everybody, when these guys lose it, and there's so many of them, there's almost nothing you can do. This was a Pier 6 brawl at the Palace tonight. And we still have 45.9 seconds to go.
Indiana's whole team is leaving the court, going to a locker room. People are throwing things, bottles, etc. They're showering with beer now.
Bill.
Well, I've
I've been in the league 29 years. I've never seen anything like that. I've seen a couple of guys in the stands for a fight, and now they're still going at it down on the other end.
This is not a pretty sight, but it happens. Very emotional game. Indiana came here with a lot of intensity, a lot of emotion, and they're really throwing stuff at Indiana going out the tunnel right now.
Well, it's Ron Artest, I believe, who was the object of the fans' wrath over there. You may never see anything like this again in pro sports.
Well, at least in the NBA, because this is going to be a serious situation, and they have called the game for the rest of the game, but the announcer is saying over to PA.
The game has been called. Indiana wins the game, if you remember.
I could tell you that I've never seen anything like it, but I think it means a lot more to have heard Detroit Pistons coach Larry Brown, who's been a fixture in the game for about 40 years, say it's the worst thing he's ever seen in basketball.
You know, if you study those, you know, the replay again, and you can see Bernie was sort of caught right there in the middle, and he's going to tell us basically what he thought happened, because we watched the foul, and it looked like a, you know, basketball is rough, especially underneath the basket, and Artest did foul Ben Wallace, and we know that Big Ben can be unhappy sometimes, but he was really unhappy about that push to the back of the head.
Bernie, we've been talking about fines and suspensions. We got some fans that need to spend the night in jail.
Well, probably, but I think the first thing you got to sort out are the athletes, and that's what the NBA is going to worry about. And you were talking about Larry Brown. You know, the problem here was there were a lot of kids around. I was at about half court after Ben pushed him, and they had moved around. I moved to kind of half court just to see what had happened. And I was about, I bet, 5 to 10 feet away from Ron Artest when he was sitting on that table. And when that beer came flying, he exploded into the stands. I mean, there wasn't a moment's hesitation. He was going in the stands. And we saw a replay of it not long ago. He went after the wrong guy, too. And then the guy who actually threw the beer then went after him. I've got George Blaha and Bill Lambier here. They saw the game. We're going to roll the tape again. You've had about 5 or 10 minutes to let this digest. Have you ever seen anything like this in sports?
Never, ever in my life. It's the ugliest thing that I've ever seen. And as Larry Brown said in his post-game news conference, and Bill and I have discussed off air, a lot of things happen between the lines, but you got to keep it on the floor somehow.
Billy's here. You've had moments in your life where there's been hectic moments as a player. But you have never seen anything like this. Can you remember anything about going back high school, college, or anywhere along the way?
I'm not in basketball. You know, like George says, on the court you can have all the fights in the world. You sort out the fines and suspensions after the fact. That's just intense, heated rivalries. But when you get into the stands and you really, that's the cardinal taboo of any professional sport. You cannot go in the stands and attack fans no matter what they say or what happens. And this is going to be just a very brutal suspension and fines for substantial.
Let me bring up just a point that no one's touched on. Was there enough security here? Was security an issue here? Because obviously
you can't stop something that happens on the spur of the moment like that. And actually, there was very few people left in the stands. They're all gone. So you know, it's just one of those things that when a player loses it and goes in the stands and his teammates follow, it happens so fast. There really is nothing you can do. The whole incident probably took place in a span of 3 minutes over a course of 150 feet, and security can't stop that.
What happens next? What do you say if you're the commissioner and you see this tape and you're, 8 games into this season and your game has been nationally televised also tonight, not only here but across the country?
If you're David Stern, you just got to shake your head and say, did this really and truly happen? Things have gone so well for him in this league for so long, and this isn't going to stop the National Basketball Association. This won't stop the fans from coming to the Palace, but this is an eyesore right now. This is nothing you want to deal with, and I think there are going to be some lengthy suspensions. I mean, I can't even imagine how long they're going to be, and I do think this too. This could probably result in a little different kind of crowd control, Bernie.
Yeah. Okay.
Because let's face it. These fans at the Palace who did what they did were part of the action. They picked the fight, and know you shouldn't go after him, but you have some responsibility as a fan as well. And I know that they love the Pistons, and you always hate the other guy, especially if he's Ron Artest. But there is a place to draw the line.
Well, you know, for Artest, now he's going to have time to go promote that rap album, don't you think? I mean, he'll get a lot of time off here. If you're a commissioner, you're looking at that tape, what are you thinking? 10, 20 games?
At least 10. My guess is 20 games, you know, and it may be a whole season worth, just because of the way his past checkered history has been. They do take that into account, and this may be a whole season worth.
Ben Wallace, that to you was the right kind of a retribution that Ben Wallace gave him for that foul with 45 seconds left. Yeah, Ben's will take a fine and maybe get a one-game suspension for doing something like that. But, you know, he had to stick up for himself. That happens in sports. You get really emotional, especially when you get trounced like this. And, you know, Ben's an emotional guy. But, you know, the Pistons didn't go in the stands. Indiana did, so that's the biggest thing. Stand by for 1 second. I just want to play Larry Brown, his take on the whole thing, and then I'm going to come back. I have a question for you. Here's Larry Brown.
Ben didn't throw a punch. He pushed. And unfortunately, fans got involved, and that was the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life as a coach or a player.
This game show, he said basically the same thing. But as a coach, if you have a player and that happens, what do you do? How do you bring your team back together?
Well, you know, right there you try to stop it. Larry Brown's injured. He can't stop it. But after the fact now, Indiana's got some problems. They're going to have major suspensions. They're going to decimate their team for a period of time. They're just going to have to try to stick together and get through it.
Yeah, I'm watching Larry Brown. I mean, he's barely able to get out to the bench, and then you've got this brawl going over his head, and other people being hurt on press row there, and even fans also. I mean, this is one of the uglier moments I've ever seen in this building, and one of the most unfortunate.
And the coaches on both teams did their best to stop it. You saw Rick Carlisle and Mike Brown run into the stands trying to slow that thing down. Even our erstwhile radio commentator Rick Mahorn was there trying to slow things down and somehow stop. I think that guy already become an awful scene.
We think he got the wrong guy, though. I think it was the guy with the white hat there that launched the original one. We think on the replay. We'll take a look at it again later, but you can just see that there's just no end in sight. I mean, once it starts and you've got 12 players going at each other, and whatever crowd is left over here, and Artest is taking shots and then going.
Yeah, well, that's, you know, you get in a battle like that, and there's so many people around you, you don't know who's your friends and who's your enemies, and at that point, you're just trying to protect yourself.
All right, gentlemen, when's the next meeting between these two teams? And will there be metal detectors on the benches? And what's going on, you know?
How about this? It's Christmas Day in Indianapolis.
Oh, is that right? Yep. Christmas Day. Well, I don't see you have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
it's great seeing you. Thank you so much for stopping. Great seeing you. Enjoyed it. George, always a pleasure. Yeah,
great to be with you.
Great to be with you. Thanks so much. Devin Carmen, I would say it is it's been an interesting evening here at the Palace.
And you thought it was going to be a dull Friday night, didn't you?
Well, you know, it is so funny because we're sitting over there and the game is really a bad basketball game. I mean, they took it to the Pistons. The Pistons did cut it to 5, but then Indiana on a couple of trips brought it back up to 11 or 12. But moments later, when this thing exploded, I turned to somebody who was sitting next to me. I go, well, there goes our quiet evening. And then that was just when Ben had pushed Artest. When he went into the stands, that's when we knew there was trouble.
In the end of the game broadcast, you mentioned a couple of Palace staffers getting hurt. Can you tell us a little bit more about what happened?
We don't know. We know Eddie, who works for the Palace, was taken out in a wheelchair, and there was he looked okay. And Nancy, who also works for the Palace, is a front office staffer. I saw her crying, but I think they may have been kicked or pushed. But it didn't seem to me to be serious injuries. Anyone was seriously injured, taken out on a stretcher or anything of that nature. But I'm telling you, there's some guys going to have some welts on their heads tonight because there were some haymakers being hauled off here. One of the ugliest moments I've ever seen in any sporting event.
I've never seen fans get involved to that degree, that emotional in a game like this.
And I'm telling you, I was 5 feet from Artest. It was one of the most frightening moments I've ever seen.
I bet so. And definitely an injured psyche for the game. Bernie, thanks. We'll be back to you shortly. Going to take a quick break. Back with more here on Local 4 News at 11 in a minute.
One of the ugliest, I mean, this is one of the most beautiful buildings you will see anywhere in this country. And tonight, one of the ugliest scenes ever. And Palace President Tom Wilson is here. We're going to show the tape and everything, but just a first, as the guy who runs this place and in charge of it, your first impressions.
Just a horrible thing, Bernie. I've never seen anything like it. I hope I never see anything like it again. It just got out of control. And, you know, players are paid, truthfully, to take a lot of abuse. You know, it's wrong. And sometimes fans go over the line, to be sure. This is a very emotional game, and some fans probably got out of hand. But once you get into sort of enemy territory, people start grabbing you to slow you down. You don't know if they're trying to slow you down or if they're trying to hit you or beat you up. So then you start swinging indiscriminately. Nothing good can happen, and that's why you stay on your bench.
So, right. So what is the rule? Is the NBA rule? So I would think the first rule of an athlete is you do not go into the stands at an opposing team's facility.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. That is a cardinal rule, and that's a cardinal rule in any sport. And you see what happens is you get out there and there's 5 or 6 or 100 different fans coming at you. Some are just trying to slow you down. Rick Mahorn, you'll see if you watch the film for a while, Rick actually probably had more to do with breaking this up than anybody. He calmed Artest down, I think Stephen Jackson as well, and was able to at least restore some order and get them off the floor. But you know, as you can see, this is craziness. But again, you cross that line, that's what's going to happen. You, as a player even, you're going to panic when you get surrounded by an angry crowd.
All fans who come in here, they're checked and they're searched and everything. So God forbid a million times, but the situation was as bad as it was. Without that, you could have probably even been worse.
Well, we've always wanted and everything like that for years now, and to make sure that no weapons come into the stands. But you know, people are going to throw things. You're going to get doused with beer. I mean, some of this is just going to happen in any arena. It's not right, and you want your fans to be passionate, but you don't want them to cross the line either. And then once you do, you know, it was an ugly situation.
As the guy running this show, what do you look at first? Security? Did you have enough security here?
Yeah, the security I don't think was a problem, Bernie. The security has to stay off the floor. If there's going to be an ejection that happens, and there probably was with Ben and Artest going at it a little bit, probably somebody was going to be taken off. And so security has to wait until they're waved on by the officials, and then all of a sudden it happens. So before the officials could wave them on, so we had security everywhere, but once you jump over that table, there's nobody over there because no one's expecting that. So security runs out, they try and get into the crowd. Mahorn goes into the crowd, everybody goes into the crowd to try and stop it, and then it just feeds on itself. So there was nothing good that happened from that point, but it was not a lack of security.
Yeah. All right. You won't get much sleep tonight, I got a feeling.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Great, thanks so much for stopping by. Great seeing you. Tom Wilson, president of the Palace Entertainment. Well, you know, the bottom line was the Pistons, they lost to the Indiana Pacers, but this fight will live a long, long time, and this rivalry, well, it has just stepped up several notches in the annals of the NBA. Carmen, Devin, back
and you were right in the middle of it, Bernie. Go home and write it all down while it's still fresh. Unbelievable night for you two. And so we leave you this evening on a night of extremes. A beautiful, fantastic night in downtown Detroit, the opening of Campus Martius, an ugly, almost indescribable night in Auburn Hills.
It really was. We want to thank you for watching this Friday edition of Local 4 News at 11. The Tonight Show with Jay Leno is coming up next.
Jeff and Robin will be here with first news, weather, and traffic of the morning. Hope you have a terrific weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. Good night.
From Detroit's news leader, it's 11 o'clock, and this is Local 4.
Tonight, it's a grainy picture that could clear up a big part of the criminal investigation in the Palace brawl. Now, there are brand new developments tonight in a story you saw unfold live here on Local 4.
Police believe they know who hurled a chair into a crowd at the Palace tonight. They need your help identifying that man. Derek Dennis is live in Auburn Hills, and he's got our first look at the suspect. Derek?
Carmen and Devin, he's caught on tape, and not just one tape, several tapes from different angles. Who knew tossing a chair would become part of a major police investigation? It's the brawl everybody's talking about. Drinks being thrown, punches being thrown, and right there, a chair tossed into the crowd. And now, for the first time, Auburn Hills police say they can spot who the chair-throwing suspect is. This man in the baseball cap and leather jacket, enhanced through the Michigan State Police Crime Lab, wanted for what investigators describe as a cowardly, underhanded act.
He just picks up the chair and just really nonchalantly as possible throws the chair over his shoulder or behind him.
So throws it?
Not really over his shoulder, but throws it back, really not paying attention to where he was, not aiming the chair. He was just recklessly throwing it.
But the melee in Motown has other suspects, like John Green. Local 4 tracked him to his home in West Bloomfield, where he tried to sick his dog on our news crew, actually pointing with his finger towards our camera. Later, he came forward, ready to cooperate with police.
I'm right here. they want me to come in, I'm more than willing to come in.
He denies being the man caught on tape tossing a cup at Indiana Pacer Ron Artest, clearly setting him off, sending him into the stands and starting the brawl. Local 4 has also learned Green has quite a criminal history: drunk driving, assault, carrying a concealed weapon, and bad checks. But it's this unidentified man who could face the most serious charge of all involved: felonious assault for throwing that chair. Police say he should turn himself in now.
Yes, we're hoping to identify him so we can interview him and bring this investigation to a close.
And tonight we should stress no charges have been filed yet. Police and prosecutors are still reviewing various tapes. We're told up to 60 to try and figure out what kind of charges should be filed. We're told most will be misdemeanor assault and battery charges. And we're live in Auburn Hills at the police department. I'm Derek Dennis, Local 4.
All right, Derek. Again, take one more look at the picture. Police believe this is the man who threw the chair, so we want you to see it one more time. A close look. If you recognize this man, we'd like to hear from you. Head to our website at clickondetroit.com. Now, meanwhile, other fans in the stands have started filing lawsuits against the Indiana Pacers and their players.
Bill Paulson says he was punched by one of the Pacers, Steven Jackson, and John Ackerman says he was hit by that flying chair and then sucker punched by Jermaine O'Neal.
What happened to me should never happen to anybody.
It's horribly scary to be in that situation.
Neither one says he threw a punch or instigated any fights with the players. We don't yet know the dollar amounts of their lawsuits. Well, we've heard from the coaches, players, and fans, but one person who has yet to speak out about the brawl is Pistons general manager, Joe Dumars. And Bernie spoke with him tonight, and I bet he's not a happy man tonight, is he?
No, he's an embarrassed man, I think, also, Carmen. Joe Dumars loves the game of basketball. He has always been one of its biggest ambassadors, but he has been rather quiet since Friday night's main event. Tonight, we spoke with him at length about what happened and his reaction. Dumars has always carried himself with dignity and class, and he played the same way. Friday night's events turned his stomach.
The longer the night went on, the sicker I got about it. And then when I woke up the next day, that was the worst.
Worse because the team he had built was involved, and the city that he helped put on the map as a player was once again on center stage. But it was the wrong stage. And he says the fans must share responsibility.
There's no justification for fans throwing stuff on the court, running down on the court. That's silly, that's asinine. And same holds true for players going into the stands. You can't jump up and run in the stands and start wailing on a fan.
What a disgraceful showing from the Pistons fans here.
Dumars is a deep thinker who sees a situation and tries to scope out all aspects of it. Here he says everyone needs to take a hard look at what happened. Has the warning signal been sounded, do you think?
I think we're beyond the warning signal now. I think the red light is on and it's blown up. And, you know, now people are like, wow, I can't believe how out of control. Well, it's been leading that way for quite some time.
All right, we will have more with Joe Dumars later in sports, including his take on what some are calling the thug mentality in the NBA, and his answer might help you make sense of this entire situation.
You know, I'm really curious. Did he feel that the suspensions were severe, too severe, or not severe enough?
I think he thought they were fair. I think he thought that they came down hard, and they had to come down hard just for the integrity of the sport. I mean, they had to save this sport somehow, because Friday nights, they were spiraling out of control.
Yeah. Hard for anybody with the Pistons to think that maybe things weren't fair in the suspensions, because they seem to have gotten the better end of it, at least as far as...
Exactly. But how about for this guy, Joe Dumars? The Sportsmanship Award is named after Joe Dumars.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I mean, that's a tough pill for him to swallow in his own building.
Yeah,
but his answers later are really enlightening.
All right.
Okay.
Back with more in just a moment.
Yeah. Devin, we've got a weekend at Bernie's for you. Oh, what a weekend it was, too. We're also going to hear from Ben Wallace about the brawl. And tonight, Joe Dumars talks about what happened at the Palace last Friday. Stick around for his insight.
You know, I don't know if we'll ever use that term bad boys loosely again, because we certainly did to describe the Pistons, but the old Pistons, not what happened on Friday night.
And it seemed like everybody tried to be a bad boy there, don't you think? Well, all the talk around the town and around the country still centers on Friday night's brawl. As you know, Ron Artest will not play for the rest of the season. Today, Ben Wallace was asked if he felt sorry for Artest in his current situation.
Life too short to be feeling sorry, you know, it's, things happen, you got to be responsible for your actions, so, I don't feel sorry for it.
Earlier this evening, we talked with Pistons president Joe Dumars, who has been rather quiet since the brawl on Friday night. He talked about several topics, including a so-called thug mentality that many say thrives in the NBA.
what happens is one or two guys in the NBA, a handful of guys do silly stuff, and they paint the whole NBA players as thugs. One or two people in the stands in Detroit do something silly, and everybody around the country say, well, everybody in Detroit's a thug. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Hold the people responsible who did this. Hold the people responsible, the players and the fans who were involved in this. The other people, don't paint them with a broad brush.
Dumars says the world of sports was on a collision course with society, and the result was not pretty.
I think society is definitely getting more brazen, more on edge. People are more outrageous with their behavior. And, you know, it's been building and building and building. And I think what you saw Friday night at the Palace was just a culmination of a festering thing that's been going on with fans and players and public and reality TV and everything else that goes on. Outrageous behavior now is almost like it's accepted, like it's cool. And you saw where it can get you when people cross the line.
So the question one has to ask at this point is, how do we get this all back on track? Dumars says there is a way.
People have to take personal responsibility. You can't sit there and the league can't implement measures, put in programs to make guys act decent. Each guy has to act that way. Each fan has to act that way. People kind of forget, like, well, that's not an option. That's the #1 option.
This is the ugliest scene you'll ever see.
For me, I'm sitting there saying, oh, my God. I mean, you know, you're almost stunned and saying, he didn't just do that. He didn't just do that. He didn't just, I mean, like, it's just, it was the craziest night ever in sports for me. Ever, ever. Nothing even close.
He says one of the worst things was when the Pacers left and the fans were standing up, and the fans weren't even involved. They were just throwing things at them. I mean, it was just awful. It was just an
NBC, America's late night leader.
It's The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, featuring Kevin Eubanks and the Tonight Show Band. And I'm John Melendez. Tonight, Jay welcomes from Christmas with the Cranks, Tim Allen. Crocodile Hunter, Steve Irwin. The music of Tim McGraw. And headline. And now, Jay
Welcome to the Tonight Show. Well, moments ago, you probably know this, U.S. forces have taken Fallujah. You hear that? Yeah. Good news, yeah. But experts say it's going to be hard to keep Iraq's insurgents from going after people in other cities. And it will be hard. We can't even keep the Indiana Pacers from going after people in other cities. How many watched that NBA reality show the other night? Who wants to be attacked by a millionaire? Did you see that? Man! Did you see Ron Artest? I mean, Ron Artest. I'm sorry. Did I say arrest? I'm sorry. You see him go into the stands after that guy? Oh, man. You know, at first, when I saw an NBA player attacking a fan, I thought, uh-oh, Kobe must be dating again. I didn't know what, I was confused. I didn't know what was happening. Oh. In fact, this is probably the first sporting event in history where the nosebleed seats were right in the front. You know? In fact, today, the Pacers unveiled their new slogan, if you can't beat them, beat them! And David Stern, the commissioner of basketball, not taking this lightly. Oh, man, to see his press conference? I understand he handed out 9 suspensions and 4 Vibe Awards. Yeah. Yeah. And you know something? I'm sorry, these players, these fans, they just don't get it. I mean, Stern could not have been more clear. Well, show the press conference. Show what happened yesterday at Stern's press conference.
That they're capable of accepting the professional guidelines that come from being and attached to being an NBA player, which is the
Actually, you know the worst part about that whole incident Friday night? It was fan appreciation night. Yeah, that's what made it special. Oh, yeah.
Detroit's news leader. It's 11 o'clock, and this is Local 4.
It's the video everyone wants, but only Local 4 has. New tonight, the Pistons offer hard cash for the identity of Detroit's most wanted fan. You perhaps saw the brawl live on Local 4 Friday evening. We've been poring over our tapes, and we discovered evidence that police didn't even have.
And now, tonight, never-before-seen video of the man police believe threw that chair into the crowd. Sean Lay is live in Auburn Hills tonight. Sean, has anyone come forward with his identity?
Carmen, not one person has. So tonight the Pistons are hoping $1,000 will help encourage someone to pick up the phone right now. We are going to give you a nice, long look at this guy right here. Someone likely watching right now knows his name, knows where he lives, and where he's at tonight. Auburn Hills police are hoping someone tips them off so investigators can put a name with this face. In all the chaos at the Palace Friday night, our Local 4 camera was watching as that man works to dislodge a folding chair. There he is, in the middle of your screen toward the bottom. Watch again in slow motion. He rocks that chair back and forth. And from this different camera angle, and with children all around, that chair comes flying toward Indiana Pacer center Jermaine O'Neal, injuring a man and a police officer. Back to our Local 4 shot. The man slips up the stairs after the chair is thrown. Police say they have home video of this guy allegedly throwing that chair. He's now wanted for felony assault. And late tonight, Oakland County Prosecutor David Gorsica tells us the Pistons organization is putting up a $1,000 reward for the person who helps identify and arrest this man.
And we appreciate the efforts of your channel, particularly, and WDIV, in airing the photo. But ironically, you would think we've gotten a tip by now.
So if you recognize that guy in the video we just showed you, give police a call. If you're not comfortable with that, give us a call at Channel 4. We'll be happy to pass the information along. Could result in a $1,000 reward for you. Live in Auburn Hills, Sean Lay, Local 4.
Well, for the first time since the infamous Friday night fight, Indiana Pacer Ron Artest is speaking out.
Let's bring Bernie in now with his exclusive comments you may have seen this morning, Bernie.
Yeah, no one has heard from Ron Artest since last Friday night's brawl at the Palace, but he broke his silence this morning. Artest appeared on the Today Show early today as he spoke publicly for the first time since the brawl took place. He was also promoting the new R&B album, which he helped produce. Artest didn't directly apologize for what happened. He told Matt Lauer he simply loves the atmosphere that basketball creates.
I like the fans when they're getting on your back, and I don't think they can say anything, but it got to be, you know, a point where they say, okay, you know, they should hold off. Like I should have not went to the stands.
Everybody thinks the fans acted just ridiculously in this, but let me get back to my question. What would have been an appropriate punishment, in your opinion, for you?
I respect, you know, David Stern's decisions, you know, but once again, I don't think I should have been out for the whole season.
Well, the Players Union agrees because today they appealed the suspensions for Artest along with Steven Jackson and Jermaine O'Neal. They're hoping to have them all reduced. Pacers played tonight with a reduced squad and surprised some people. We'll tell you what happened later in sports. Carmen, Devin.
All right, Bernie, we'll see you then. Stay with Local 4 and clickondetroit.com as we continue to follow the fallout over the Palace brawl.